Everyone here at our Cottonwood Heights business meeting. This is May 19th and 2026, and we welcome everyone who's joined us today. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Scott Jurgis, our financial officer, to lead us. Thank you. We will begin this meeting with the oath of office, our swearing in of our Youth City Council for the new 26-27 school year. And that will be done by our recorder, Tiffany Jansen, and we welcome those youth to come up in a big group. Yes.
While they're doing this, we just take a moment and say that we recognize the outgoing officers in the work session, and we're excited that this new Youth City Council is going to be able to serve next year. Many of them served last year, and this is such a great part of our community. We're grateful to be able to honor you tonight with the swearing-in ceremony.
I'm going to say just a word since we're getting set up for this swearing in. It's been a real honor to serve for the last 4 years as the council liaison to the Youth City Council. And I've seen a couple different mayors come and go through the Youth City Council. And it's so great to see this group of officers and to congratulate Renata tonight in becoming the next Youth City Council mayor.
We have y'all stay up there for a photo real quick.
Okay. We are excited for our new Youth City Council. Okay.
Just so that the council knows, oh, hold on, let's see. Renata is our mayor. And where did our Ayrton and Ryan are apparently showing up at 7:10, and we'll miss this out. And then we have social with Silas. There he is. Okay, Silas is still there. The others are various committee liaisons. And I'm sure Tiffany will get them in the minutes.
Thank you. All right, now we will enter our city council committee reports. And following that, we'll have our citizen comments. So we'll go ahead and turn the time over to Council Member Holton. Each one of us have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Councilman Holton, and I have the privilege of representing the city on Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling District. So recycling, trash pickup, all that fun stuff. If anyone has opinions on that, would love to chat with you. You will start to get, if you're not on paperless, if you're on paperless, it'll stay the same. If you are actually getting a physical bill in the mail, we have transitioned to a postcard to save on paper, on actual costs from the district. So just by going to a postcard, it saved the trash district $192,000 annually. So if you can, we encourage people to go paperless. It will save even more. We also are looking at different ways. Right now we have the scrap program, which you're familiar with. You can reserve a trash bin in your driveway. We're looking at different methods to do that more efficiently. This year was the first year, we actually collected these trash bins from your yards and met at a central location here in Cottonwood Heights, dumped them out and scooped them up where they could actually fit. I got new numbers today. They could actually fit upwards of 23 of them by compacting them into one bin. Before, we were actually doing 23 trips all the way to the landfill near Magna and then bringing the bin back. And now 23 of them turned into one, which I think is great. So a couple other things, we've been looking at cost saving measures. The reason for this is Harriman City formally submitted a notice that they are going to be leaving the trash district, which then will impact our residents. And in order to continue to be competitive with the private market, this year we'll see about $1.9 million of savings from our budget, which will continue to give you the same level of service, but we've found efficiencies and gotten rid of redundancies and other things to reduce the budget by $1.9 million. So if you have thoughts, I will say this is not set in stone. We are at least exploring the idea of a curbside pickup for spring cleaning, which some communities do. There's pros and cons. If you have thoughts about it, please reach out. Thanks so much.
And now we'll have Councilmember Suzanne Highland.
Thank you. I serve on the Emergency Management Committee, which is not glamorous until there's an earthquake, and then everybody's mostly interested. But because of the other things that we're prone to as well, not flooding this year, but in years past, 3 years ago, we were sandbagging for flooding. And so the Emergency Management has a steering committee, and I had a chance to sit in on their meeting this past week, and I just have to recognize them for their dedication and their hard work. If you're not aware, we have a ham radio, amateur radio club in our city, which is quite unique. And they are testing ways and have tested ways where they can get information over a ham radio in case of the Wi-Fi and cellular going down. It's remarkable. They can send a drone up and they can survey what is happening in our city, convey it back to a command center so that we can get resources where they're needed. And I will continue to say to all of you, as anyone does in emergency management, that you need to be able to take care of yourself for 3 days, because nobody's coming for 3 days, because we'll be we'll take our resources and put them where they can be of the most use. So if kids are in school, they're going to go to the schools. They're not going to come to you. But mostly I wanted to recognize the standing committee. It's grassroots. It's neighbors talking to and watching out for neighbors. And I would like to expand that opportunity in our community, because as I knock doors and as many of us knock doors, people are just really longing for that kind of connection. I think this is one way that we can accomplish that, and we'll pursue it. I also serve on the Women in Business Committee for the South Valley Chamber, And this past week, they graduated 24 high school seniors who are in their junior Women in Business program. And for all of the work that they did, they receive a $1,000 scholarship, but most of them will say that they learned far more than the $1,000 that they were awarded for having participated in that. And I want to honor the South Valley Chamber for supporting that program and for finding the sponsors to be able to help young women to see what they can accomplish and put them on a path towards that. We did honor the outgoing Youth City Council. I'm grateful to be able to serve in that capacity now and recognize the incoming as you just did. So thank you for being here and clapping for them. I think that's a really great program that we have in our city. They do a lot of service. They take a lot of time to educate those students on how government works. That sets them up in the future for hopefully participating in a civic process like you are all here for tonight. And last, I want to thank our staff and a small group of volunteers that is being led by Mickey Harris. Many of you know Mickey Harris in the community for helping us to plan and celebrate America's 250th anniversary of a Declaration of Independence from a tyrannical government. And I wrote about this in the newsletter article, and I don't think that that should be minimized. When you look across the world at how many forms of government have survived that long, I'm grateful that we're going to have the opportunity, and even more grateful for the volunteers who are going to help us with that. So thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Councilmember Sean Newell.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I serve on 4 different committees here for the city. One of them is the Canyon School Foundation. And we have a number of activities. We just finished up our gala where we collect funds for scholarships and actually divvy out scholarships. I think the scholarships were around $1,500 per student, and there were 8 students, I believe, that received them this year. We're in the middle of planning a fun run that's coming up that'll have some of our unified students involved. And that'll be in collaboration with Sandy City. And it should be a really nice thing. And it's open to the public to be able to come out and do these fun runs. We'll have it kind of divided up into the unified students in one group, and then the people that are serious runners in the next group. It'll be a great event. I also serve on the Arts Council, and I just wanted to put out the plug that we're looking for people that have these skills and enjoy the arts and many different types of arts to come and join the Arts Council. It's a wonderful way to participate in the city and to contribute your skill sets to helping our community be able to see some of the beauty that can be created with our citizens. I also serve on the Health in the Heights Committee, and we just finished our community health assessment. This document right here gives a quick overview of some of the impacts, the health impacts for our young people in our community. We gathered the data in this report from the Sharps data that's out there that we cannot share openly because of some of the sensitivity of the data. But this it's on the website now, isn't it? I think it's on the website. It should be on the website. If not today, it'll be. But it's a great document to go through to see how our young people are being impacted by things outside in the environment and some of the issues that they're facing, especially our junior high and high school students. I also serve on the South Valley Valley Chamber on the board. And here again, for those of you that have businesses, this is a great opportunity for you to get engaged, to join the South Valley Chamber through Cottonwood Heights and become a member. There are opportunities for networking. We have seminars. There are these learning, they're kind of business roundtables that take place where you can come and entertain your people with your business, and you can also learn about other businesses in our communities. And it's a great opportunity for you to have engagement with not just folks here in Cottonwood Heights, but people within our region here, here in the South and Southeast. Thank you very much.
Okay, before I have Councilmember Burrell have her time, it's nice to know how long we have to speak as public. And right now I have 40 comment cards, and we only have an hour for this time. And I think there's more cards coming. So we're going to ask you to limit your time to 1.5 minutes. And if you can speak less, to do that so that we can stay within that. So have your mind clear on what you want to say and say it succinctly. And if others have said basically what you're going to say, even shorter, right? Unless you have more to add. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Councilmember Brill.
Well, brevity. Okay, I will try to keep it brief. It's so great to see everyone tonight, and I appreciate Councilman Newell and his leadership with the Health in the Heights. I think many of us that are in this room tonight understand, as it has been brought to my attention with one constituent after another who works in the medical field, whether it's Tim Jean, who serves on the Health in the Heights, he's an emergency doc, whether it's Diane Forster Burke, who is a nurse, whether it's Dr. Cosgrove, who's a retired pediatrician, they'll all say that one of the number one things that affects the health of youth, of unborn babies, of every single person, no matter what age or walk of life, is air quality. And so it is, for me, one of the most exciting things in my 45 years of living in the state of Utah to see us tonight have the opportunity to be voting on legislation that that may advance for our city the Community Renewable Program. And so while I'm working on a number of things in the community, I will just ever so briefly rattle through these. I'm very excited about what a historic night we have tonight. And for many constituents who live in District 4, it's public trail access. Please don't think that this isn't still on the front burner. We're trying to work on that very vigorously. And so we'll have more news a little later in the year on that. The traffic noise on SR 210 through Wasatch Boulevard is getting worse and worse on the Friday, Saturday nights and holidays. And I appreciate our police department. We're hoping to have a little more presence in those, wee hours of the night with what goes on there on that far east side of our city. I just returned from Boulder, Colorado, where for the second year in a row, I've been studying active transportation and how we can make our streets safer and better for walking and rolling here in Cottonwood Heights. And if you haven't already, there's a Creek Road crosswalk study. So anyone who has any familiarity with Creek Road and you want to weigh in on safety there, especially as it relates to potential sidewalks, now through the end of the month is the time to do that, and you can access that through the Cottonwood Heights website. And I hope that some of you will also come to my town hall meeting, which will occur tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. And one last thing, I just gave a presentation on our PDD2, which is otherwise known as the North Gravel Pit Project. And so I'll touch on that at the town hall meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'll give a brief report. I serve on the board of the Unified Fire Authority, and I just have finished serving on the Finance Committee that has been meeting, and we have reviewed that UFA budget. And as I shared last month, each division in UFA was asked to look at up to 10% cuts and to free up budget funds for an overdue training facility. They really are operating out of cobbled together containers out in Magna. And so with the cuts that they have made, their overall increase, including that bonding for that new facility, their budget is going up 5%. The increase for our city is 4.28. So this is just one example of increasing fees for our city and part of why we have the need for a property tax increase. And as we see Harriman leaving the Whitford, Eagle Mountain is currently a member of UFSA, which is a service area with Unified Fire, and they are becoming, tonight, they're voting on becoming a direct member with UFA as we are, because they see the benefits to doing that. UFA welcomes everyone in the county to a wildland fire town hall on June 11th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Emergency Operations Center at the UFA building at 3380 South 9th West to learn about defensible spaces. All residences that are in the wildland urban interface area where the wildland is in connection with structures should have a 30-foot space between structures and vegetation. So you can learn more about that on June 11th. And I was also able to attend the Wasatch Front Regional Council trip to Boulder to experience what they have created in the way of safe streets for pedestrians and bicyclists. Their entire region has had a long-term commitment, and it was great to see what they have been able to create due to that. And I've briefly discussed with our staff what they've done, and really our staff is severely limited on what they can provide because of funding. So it's up to our council, as my staff reminded us, to work together to create the vision that we want and then to find ways to fund that. We can't expect them to create miracles out of nothing. So our state is investing $45 million annually in the Utah Trail Network for protected separate paths for bikes and pedestrians. That is a huge investment and visionary. But we, as a council, need to provide those safe paths to get to the Utah Trail Network, as well as safe transportation for everyone in the city. I also attended the Utah League of Cities and Towns mid-conference in St. George with 3 of our council members, and I appreciated the focus on water. Our state only received 50% of normal snowpack. This is a very serious year where we all need to conserve water in every way possible. And Jean Scowcraft was the director of the Central Utah Conservancy District, one of the 4 major water providers in our state. And he is now the Colorado River Commissioner. And he spoke of facts, which I believe have been not regarded highly enough. He talked a lot about the ongoing hot summers, that this drought we're in is not a one-off, that we are in a new time, and that we must be conserving water always in our state. So it's encouraging for me to hear experts like him acknowledging the difficulties that we face. Okay, now we will turn the time over for citizen comment. And again, I've gotten just a few more. So if you can be under that 1:30, we thank you. So that I would like everyone to have time that's here. And then we ask everyone to be considerate in what you say, state your name when you speak for the record. I have it here, but we'd like you to say your name and we'd like you to speak right in the microphone. We would like you to be civil. Those of us here on our council, we have differing views on many topics, but the win I see every day is that we continue to work together and to share experiences with one another, to share information so that we as a council can be productive and not divisive in any way. That is our goal as a council. And I appreciate that from my council members. Okay, so we will begin with Kim Steenblick. And what I would like to do is call the name after. I would like the next speaker to be ready so that we can flow quickly. So after Kim Steenblick, we'll have Drew Tidwell. So come on up. If you're right behind, just stand right behind the other person.
Thank you. My flight just got moved up, so I was about ready to leave. My name's Kim Steenblick. I am in District 3. I just want to very quickly, because I need to leave, I am against the Utah Renewables community opting into it or having it an opt-out option. I think that we can all do our part, and there's the Rocky Mountain Power, the Blue Sky that we can opt into if we want to do that. There are other programs that we can do solar panels, but having an opt-out option for people is just not good. There's a difference between opt-in and opt-out. And if you're relying on people to opt out, that is just not good, especially with the tax increases that we're having. Thank you.
After Drew, we'll have Bob Jacobs.
Hi, I'm Drew Tidwell. I'm in District 2, and I've lived in Cottonwood Heights for 21 years. I've stated my support before for the URC to this body, and I've attended 2 meetings that were highly informative. One was the town hall meeting last week. The other was a neighbor's home, where we had a group of about 15 citizens gathered to learn and to advocate for the program. I also have done significant research online on my own to compare the different sources of energy to the costs for each one. I've found that renewables are often half as much as oil, gas, and nuclear. In Utah, in particular, we sit in a unique place geographically to use solar, wind, and geothermal to add to our energy portfolio. This program is a well-formed program, a collaboration of government leaders who sit across the aisle from each other in terms of political spectrum, but came together thoughtfully and in earnest to provide a platform where communities can work together to support sustainable energies on a small scale, dedicated to grow, and will very likely bring our electricity bills down within a few short years. Think of this program as Kickstart, so to speak, to enliven good work for less expensive and less harmful production of electric power. I urge our City Council to vote yes to the URC, make something historic happen in a very significant way.
Thank you. So Bob Jacobs, and then right after him, Stacy Skelton can go up and get ready. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you.
I guess I need to cut my speech down. I just want to say, I'm a little taken back by the fact that there's even a question about whether to be in or out. 6 years ago, we started this. We put $20,000 into the effort. Every mayor has supported this. The county, our city council passed a resolution that we should be 100% renewable by 2030. This is the only thing I've ever seen that was let that happen. We did a survey where we showed 88% of the people that responded to the survey were in favor of renewable energy. That's pretty significant. 88% wanted renewable energy. Let's see here. I guess, in my opinion, this is about as good a plan as you're ever going to get. It allows me to power my home 100% renewable energy, do this without solar panels on my roof, which would cost me thousands of dollars. Subscription to Blue Sky, somebody mentioned, that's kind of ridiculous. It's 4 or 5 times the cost that we'll see in this program. And it's small. This program is going to force Rocky Mountain Power into renewable energy. Let me just say real quick, the only thing, if we opt out, that means only the people who want to opt out have a choice. If we opt in, everybody has a choice.
Thank you.
My choice is to opt in.
Thank you.
And if you
Okay,
opt
we
out,
asked
I
people.
won't have a choice.
Okay, great. Next is, and we'll refrain from clapping. We just want to keep this because we want to keep it quiet and under control. Next, we have Leslie Kovac, and after her, Christine McKell. Michael.
Trying to walk and start my computer up. So my name's Leslie Kovach. I've lived in Salt Lake or in Cottonwood Heights for since 1984. In the time I've lived here, I've watched the area grow and change. When Cottonwood Heights became a city, I believed that we moved to a more progressive government, that which was being offered by Salt Lake County. I felt that our city would look out for the health of our citizens, and we would have a more responsive council when concerns and issues were being raised by citizens. I fear that our council may remove Cottonwood Heights from the Community Clean Energy Program. As a progressive community, I would endorse our city to stay in the program and continue to move forward in funding this program. For many years, I worked with Rocky Mountain Power in Utah and Wyoming, APS in Arizona, Salt River Project in Arizona. All of these utilities were burning coal of some sort, starting to move towards gas-fired turbines. The one thing that the power plants were avoiding was spending money on upgrading or cleaning up any of their processes to clean up all the air pollution, or most of it. For many years, I worked on selling these companies products to reduce their problem. They always gave me pushback. They never bought. Why? because it would reduce their profits and their bottom line. That being said, I ask, as I hope many other citizens have, that the City Council will continue to fund the program.
Thank you. Okay, Christine, and then after Christine, Lynn Kraus.
Well, this is the first time I've ever been on this side, and I'm going to stand on this stool here. My name is Christine Michael. Good evening, Mayor and council members, some of you I have yet to meet. As a former council member, I know firsthand the privilege and responsibility of serving the people of our city. This council has historically worked to improve transparency and public engagement, which is the very foundation of serving our community. From live stream council meetings to expanded communication through the city newsletter and public meetings, the council worked hard to give residents the opportunity to understand the issues before major votes were taken on their behalf, which is why I'm here tonight asking you to delay this vote. Because Cottonwood Heights residents deserve the chance to understand this issue, moving this vote forward deprived them of that, and we owe it to them to make that right. This issue is important to me as a resident because I've struggled to find meaningful public education for the city itself explaining the URC program, a program that I and my fellow council members voted for while I was in office. Its implications were the broader context surrounding energy policy and air quality today in Utah. I only recently learned about the open house that occurred last week. I have more to say, but I'll keep to my 12 seconds. People care deeply about this issue. They care about their children. They care about growth, reliability, affordability, and protecting the quality of life that makes this community special. And regardless of where someone lands on this issue, they deserve the opportunity to become informed before a vote is finalized. Cottonwood Heights is an educated, engaged community. Trust your residents enough to let them learn, ask questions, and participate. Delay the vote, hold additional public outreach, put information in the newsletter, have a doodle poll, give people time to understand what is being proposed and what it means. Transparency does not slow democracy down. It strengthens it.
Thank you. Next, we have Lynn Kraus, followed by Maya Parsons.
I'm not going to use the step stool. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to, first of all, thank you all for the time you've spent investigating the Utah Renewables Community Program. I'd like to share a few thoughts, and I'm going to try to speak fast. As you know, HB 411 passed both the Utah House and Senate with strong bipartisan support back in 2019. This underscores the fact that air quality in our state is a significant issue. No bill is perfect. This one includes the opt-out provision that everybody's complaining about. But after all the work that went into this legislation and into the hearings before the Public Service Commission, it makes no sense to discard this opportunity, particularly given there are ways to mitigate the opt-out problem via the city website, the Cottonwood Journal, city email, social media, city newsletter. All of those ways can be used to inform the citizens. My main concern was the city's budget situation, given the additional $18,000 that would need to be invested in noticing. Now that someone has volunteered to pay that on the city behalf, that issue has been eliminated. At this point, I see no logical reason for the council to vote no. A no vote sends the message that the council doesn't think the residents have the intelligence to make this decision on our own, and I strongly disagree with that message. For those who think URC won't make a difference in PM 2.5, opt out. For those who think URC is a PowerPoint presentation, opt out. I have more to say. If you think blue sky is better, pay you not $1.95, but don't take this right away from the rest of us.
Thank you. After Maya, we have Zach Robinson.
Hello, my name is Maya Parsons. I am from District 2, and I'm here today to urge you to keep Cottonwood Heights in the Utah renewable community. I know that we have all seen how the burning of fossil fuels has negatively affected our community in Cottonwood Heights, with air pollution causing worsening inversions, continual hottest temperatures on record, and this year with the lowest snowpack to date since the 1970s. As far as air quality, a study conducted from BYU in 2020 found that Utah's air pollution can cause up to 8,000 premature deaths per year. The same study also estimated that Utah's air pollution costs $1.9 billion annually for our state. The only solution I see that we have control over is to adopt the Utah Community Clean Energy Program. Specifically, I want to stress that this decision on whether to approve this program will not largely affect you all sitting here, but it will affect me, it will affect your children, it will affect your grandchildren, and it will largely affect the younger generations to come. We will inherit worse air quality, we will inherit failing health, and we will inherit a deteriorating climate. We will face the repercussions of this decision whether we like it or not. This decision to continue with the clean energy program is deciding to invest in a healthier future for Cottonwood Heights residents. How amazing would it be if Cottonwood Heights could be an example, a leader in investing in a sustainable future? I want to be proud of my hometown's commitment to protecting its residents' health, our environment's health, which we depend so greatly on, and feel confident that you as our leaders share the same sentiment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And after Zach, then we'll have Audrey Pines.
Mayor, Council, nice to see you all. I have the luxury of knowing many of you from my experience at Sandy City. And my name is Zach Robinson, and I am a resident of Sandy City, but I did feel compelled to come and address this body as a former policymaker, as a two-term Sandy City Council member. There's one thing that I regret during my time on the Sandy City Council. I tried twice to get Sandy to be a member community. We just didn't have the makeup on the council. I wanted our residents to have the opportunity to do their part. Opting out of the URC, in my opinion, would be a mistake. It would be a missed opportunity. I'm urging you to stay as a member city, and I'm urging you to trust your residents to make the right decisions. I wanted to provide my community with that. I didn't get the opportunity to. Your community has already done that. Don't take that away from them. Thank you for the opportunity to come and say hello. Anytime you want to come to Sandy, I'll take you to lunch. So good to see you all again. Thank you.
Thank you. And after Audrey, we will hear from Carl Churchill.
Hi, you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm Audrey Pines, District 4. I want to thank everybody for being pleasant at the town halls, and everybody's been talking about this for a long, long time. I'm sorry for people that missed out on the conversation about it. I've spent a long time doing deep dives into URC, and all I can say is it's an emotional topic, it's a political topic, and science on both sides is very divided. And the medicine, the medical doctors, everybody is divided on this topic of what exactly is happening. I am against opting, that people have to pay attention to what's on their bills and opt out. I think that there's so many ways that people can support their alternative energy if that's how they feel. And I just think I don't have the time to sit and go into all the things that people are saying that aren't right about the URC, the division of the science on this, but you have to look at the hardships that a lot of these things on our bills are adding up, the taxes, the telecommunication, it's just building and building. There's so many programs. There's the EC in the Utah Power and Light, where they help people that don't have money put solar panels on their houses. That is where they should be, not on our land, which they've put no perimeters on the land that they're taking.
Thank you. Then after Carl, we'll have Shannon Haley.
Hi, my name is Carl Churchill. I'm here tonight as a citizen and a business owner in this community. I want to start out by saying thank you to all of you on the council and to the mayor and to all the members of the city. You guys do a fantastic job. You have a very difficult job. You're hearing from both sides. You're going to make a lot of people unhappy no matter what you do, but I appreciate that I have spoken to many of you. You take it seriously. You're thinking very deeply about this. A lot of good points have been made. I think the main point that I would like to make is that if we opt out of this as a city, all of the people in this city that want to participate do not have an opportunity to participate in this. If we opt in as a city, then people individually can opt out. It's $4 a month. We're talking about an opportunity for those of us who want 100% renewable energy to be able to opt in. The Blue Sky program is terrible. We put solar on our house, we've zero-scaped our yard, we've done a lot of things. This is an opportunity for us to make a positive statement and give us that opportunity and let people opt out if they don't like it. Thank you.
Thank you. After Shannon Haley, then we'll have Shelley Hansen.
Shorty. All right, I've spoken a couple times in favor of URC, but tonight I want to focus on opt-out because I think that's an issue that's some of you are preparing to say no because of. I'll start by saying that every single default in civic and public life asks something of somebody. We do not organize public life around the principle that the default must always favor inaction. We organize it around what best serves the community. So what does the community want? 88% of Utahns consider poor air quality a serious problem. 75% of Utahns are concerned about the state's water situation, and 71% believe climate change is happening. That is your constituency. That's the majority you were elected to represent. So if you vote no because of the opt-out is too much to ask of adults. What you're actually voting for is structuring public policy to protect the passive preferences of the few over the active values of the many. I've heard the objections that people shouldn't be enrolled without consent, but you've already enrolled them in sewer, trash, schools, water infrastructure, grid maintenance, and all of that often without their vote. Social contract of community has always included shared systems. I'd like to emphasize that URC program gives everyone maximum choice. And finally, I will just close by saying that when a procedural objection consistently lands in the direction that benefits the gas industry over public interest, and when the concerns are somehow always results in more gas and less renewables, at some point, citizens have to ask whether the procedure is really the concern.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, after Shelley Hansen, we'll have Mike Hansen. And I want to tell people in the back, there are seats up here. You can come in. I see like 6, 7 seats that are empty if people want to come up and be in here.
Hi, I'm Shelley Hansen. I'm actually going to be speaking for Mayor Mike Wickers, who is unable to be here today. Excuse me, I'm just going to go ahead and read what he wrote. I'm sorry I'm not able to be here with you today. Along with former mayors Cullimore and Peterson, I'd like to add my voice in opposition to the URC program with Rocky Mountain Power. I've never met a person that doesn't want cleaner air, and I believe that renewable energy sources can help decrease the amount of carbon monoxide in our atmosphere. But this program is relying on an ill-conceived approach that flies in the face of fairness. The Federal Trade Commission is an important government agency tasked with protecting consumers from illegal business practices. The FTC can refer charges to the DOJ or implement fines for businesses that break our laws. If you go to the FTC's website, the #1 common deceptive practice is opting in customers to the product without their full and clear consent. It is remarkable that the City of Cottonwood Heights is considering implementing this exact practice on its residents with the justification that a notification will be mailed to each household, while knowing full well that a high majority will discard that notice without reading it. To rely on a deceptive practice for a program that won't work without implementation of such practice should be condemned by everyone, regardless of political affiliation. The current council has talked about increasing transparency within our city. This is the exact opposite of transparency. I believe supporters of the current proposal should lobby the legislature to change the program to an opt-in method for the entire state of Utah. Perhaps then we would get that required funding it needs. Thank you for your time.
After Mike Hansen, then we have Ken Garner.
Good evening, Mayor Council. Mike Hansen, District 3. I come to you tonight because I'm not answering to a political call out, but it's because I spent a ton of time on this thing. Months I have researched this. And over the past months, I've seen countless URC materials. I've gone through the whole deal. Unfortunately, I have some problems with long-term impacts and raising concerns about results that I've had in ridicule as I've expressed my feelings in public. I feel like people have come to me and said, Mike, you don't care about clean air. You don't support this program. You don't care about clean air. Nothing could be further from the truth. I do care about clean air. Problem I have is what we've heard tonight, opt out, opt in. If URC is truly this strong and it's such a beneficial program, it should run on its own merits. And those own merits would be to fund itself. If we want to help with it, we can fund it. We don't have to do it on the opt-out end. I'm going to cut my minutes and try to save somebody some time here. I respectfully request that this gets rejected tonight and go to the legislature and get URC to change their policy. I'm all for it if we could get past that. Thank you.
Thank you. And after Ken, we have Helen Salas McCarty.
Hi, Council. Thank you for serving. My name is Ken Garner. I'm a PE, leading expert in the power industry. Natural gas and electricity are tied at the hip. The NERC is so worried that last week they issued an unprecedented level 3 mandatory action, including fuel delivery systems in natural gas. They have to study this, everybody mandatory across the country now. Planned data centers need hundreds of gigawatts and are planning to use gas, causing a 10% increase in demand on pipelines already strained. Permian Basin already has bottlenecks. We've seen this before. In the 90s, gas use expanded dramatically for power plants. H.E. Williams built a parallel 1,300-mile Kern River pipeline across the foothills of Bountiful that is now at capacity. A few cold winter days, the result of the early 2000s, gas costs spiked to 4 times what it was just a few years earlier. That led to higher bills, escalating power costs, to cause supposed to burn that cheap, plentiful supply. Pipelines fill up and restrict supply and increase costs. Imagine a day where cold, bitter winter air comes in and residents must conserve. Imagine building a third parallel 1,300-mile pipeline. We can't build new pipelines fast enough to solve the data center and export issues, but we can help by reducing demand, which lowers the gas bill and the electric bill. Honestly, I'm disappointed you decided not to poll residents with your prepaid flash vote. I heard it in 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. I asked to delay the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, after Helen, we have Ellen Blodell. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to look at these and then I miss. Sorry. Okay.
Mayor, council members. I'm Helen Salas McCarty. I've lived in Cottonwood Heights for 34 years. I am a grateful member of this remarkable and special community. I am certainly willing to pay $3 to $4 extra a month to fund cleaner energy that will benefit our community and our state. And I think that a no vote is a significant underestimation of the willingness of your community to pitch in. I mean, that's what we do in this state. We band together and we make our community better. So I urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. I need to pay more attention to the circles. Next, we have Mark Shaw, and then we have Jennifer Shaw.
Good evening, Council. I'm Dr. Mark Shaw. I'm an emergency physician. The last time I was at a podium like this speaking to a non-medical community was during the COVID pandemic, sitting next to Governor Cox. And the message that press conference was similar to the message that I have tonight, is that our health is precious and fragile, and that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We know that fossil fuel extraction and burning is contributing to ill effects of health, and I encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to improve the health of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And then after Jennifer Shaw, we have Samara Shaw.
Greetings, council members. Thank you for listening to me tonight. And I was here last week stating my support for the Utah Renewable Communities Program. Many folks have made comments that I support tonight. And I just want to focus on the opt-out issue because I think there's a real win-win here. I understand it's very admirable to be concerned about individuals in our community who may not be able to afford this program and may not be aware of the program or how to opt out. But I also believe that Cottonwood Heights can do so much more to educate our residents and have not done that. Indeed, there's been a lack of due diligence in terms of educating our community and making them aware of this program. Case in point, only one open house that was held last week when we've been trying to prepare for this moment for years, and there could have been multiple listening sessions. Also, there have been no articles in the newsletter, nothing on the website, no direct emails, and no use of the billboard that we have free access to. I urge you to use these tools to make it a win-win situation so that we have the freedom to choose to participate in this program if we want to, and we also protect those individuals who choose not to do so and can't do so. So thank you for taking the time to listen to all of us. I also urge you to delay the vote and put out that flash vote. As you see tonight, there's so many people here who want to have their voice heard, and I feel that our voices have not been heard. So please give us that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. After Samara Shaw, we have Chester France.
Hi, my name is Samara Shaw, and I am a senior at Brighton High School. I recently turned 18 and I became a voter in Cottonwood Heights. 7 years ago, I attended a meeting here that was about passing a resolution to be 100% reliant on renewable energy by 2035. I came up to this stand with a self-made poster in hand, and I spoke briefly about my love for the earth and my desire to protect it. Now it's time for action. As a mountain biker, skier, climber, and lover of nature in general, I believe it is necessary that we progress with our lives and use resources in ways that make as little of an impact on the environment as possible. To me, the earth is priceless, and any additional cost to do better by it is so worth it. We must stop focusing on reasons not to participate in the URC program, but instead focus on reasons why we should. The longer we fear minor side effects of community-wide growth, the harder it will be to keep the city's air quality clean and healthy for its residents. Taking steps towards reliance on renewable energy is an important step and one that I and many of my peers are very passionate about. I urge you, council members from the youth and the future of Cottonwood Heights, to vote yes and continue to participate in this program. Thank you.
Thank you. And after Chester, we have Dave Schoeneck.
My name is Chester France. If Cottonwood Heights stays in the URC, the added clean energy generated by the URC participants will displace about $10 million worth of natural gas used for electric generation each year. I'll be direct, and this kind of kills me. Councilmember Matt Holden currently lobbies for Williams, the Fortune 500 natural gas company. Last month, Matt was a lobbyist for the Utah Petroleum Association. Matt's business, Stroke Strategy, still lobbies to them to this day through his sole business partner. Here are the rules of conflict of interest in our city's ordinance. Prior to any vote on the government action, city personnel experiencing in their opinion a conflict of interest should declare that their interest publicly and provide a written statement for the record, preferably before the vote of governmental action specifying the nature of the conflict of interest. If the city personnel determines in their opinion that because of a conflict of interest, they cannot be objective in their consideration and the vote on their government action, they shall abstain from considering, debating, or voting on the governmental action, and they should not discuss the merits of this action. If anyone's considering an abstention, a middle path, an abstain is essentially a no vote. To pass an ordinance requires 3 affirmative yes votes. Abstaining doesn't make you neutral, it makes you opposed. The vote should be postponed so a reasonable path forward can be made on the vote. Mr. Holden should recuse himself. He's a lobbyist for the petroleum industry with a clear conflict of interest. Councilmembers Sean and Susan, consider whether a conflicted vote is the majority you want to be a part of.
Thank you. Okay. And after Dave Schoeneck, we have Cynthia Blair.
Good evening. My name is Dave Schoeneck. I've been a grateful member, resident of Cottonwood Heights for 30 years this fall. Ours is the house across from Bywater Park that almost burnt down 9 years ago because of aerial fireworks, which this year is going to be even worse. I work up at Snowbird with special needs to help people ski and bike. As I drive down the canyon, I see this rust-colored blanket that is the air that we're going to breathe in. I've been breathing good air while I was up there. Coming down here, I'm not breathing good air. And I'm quite sure that everyone in this room, city, state, world, likes to breathe good, clean air. For $4 a month, you can't get a cup of coffee for that. You know, why in God's name would elected officials vote to not give us clean air, vote to not put it in our journal to educate the public, which I heard there was a vote to not put it in the journal? That makes no sense to me. Clean air has a lot to do with our health, as the doctor just said. Smoke from the fires. I'm kind of anti-aerial fireworks, and my house almost blowing up. And this could be Palisades in this state. What happened there with our canyon winds, aerial fireworks, should be banned in this Cottonwood Heights, as far as I'm concerned. But I think a lot of people feel the same way. So I'm very hopeful that the ignorance we're seeing in our current administration and the state capitol doesn't trickle down to this city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. After Cynthia, we have Diane Forster-Burke.
And I was just going to cede my time to Diane because she's going to say what I was going to say plus a lot more. Basically, at least please delay the vote. The community, everyone I've talked to about this hasn't heard about it and doesn't know about it. But I say we stay in the program. I think it's very important. I'm very concerned about the environment as well. $4 a month is not a big issue. There are lots of ways that people will be notified, as talked about in the town hall. And also the people that, for whom that would be an issue, have the option of not paying. Thank you.
You. After Diane, we have Nolan Black.
Good evening. I am speaking in strong support of the Utah Renewable Communities Program and have a few points. I'll make it brief, and I can talk fast. I was an instructor for 29 years. I'm a master's prepared nurse who's worked in community health settings and in education, and I also serve on the Health in the Heights Committee. When I nailed Mr. Newell about how he was going to vote tonight, he said he had problems with the opt-in and the opt-out. That decision was made by the GOP supermajority legislature in 2019. So if you have problems with that, then you have problems with their wording. They made it so that you pay $4 a month if you're opting in, and to opt out within the first 6 months costs that person nothing. If you're low income, you pay nothing. So there's a lot of opportunity to help the residents. It really is a concern of mine that we know as well that Cottonwood Heights has already paid into this, and it would cost Cottonwood Heights nothing for us to participate in it in the future. Wind, solar, and battery storage are among the lowest cost energy sources available, and unlike fossil fuels, the renewable energy has no fuel costs, and it protects customers from price spikes tied to global conflicts and volatile gas markets, which we are now seeing. The Renewable Communities Program is about choice, and the choice is for each household to support the clean energy. I want us to have that choice, and I really am irritated that paternalism would deny me that choice. And as a nurse, I know there are health effects to air pollution, and I have 2 friends who contracted lung cancer without ever smoking, but by living in this valley.
Thank you. Now, after Nolan, we have Jason Bowl.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, and ladies and gentlemen of the public. I'm here tonight to speak regarding the Council's vote on continued participation in the Utah's Renewable Communities Initiative and the importance of preserving the residents of Cottonwood Heights' choice. I'm 14 years old. I go to Butler Middle School. I'm the founder, chair, and CEO of the Nolan Black Organization, as well as a multi-leader within the national program known as the United States Youth Government. I want to first begin with my thanks to Cynthia Blair for bringing this matter to my attention. I think it's great that we can encourage the youth to speak up against this. After careful consideration and consulting with multiple members of our community on both sides of the aisle, including Ellen Burrell, John Arthur, Senator Kathleen Reby, and both candidates of the Republican Party for the Utah House 41, I can say I'm in strong support of the Cottonwood Heights City staying upon the Utah Renewable Communities Initiative. This initiative will bring a safer, cleaner, and better future for our community, our city, our state, and our nation. And I can say that I have the full support of those peers within me at Butler Middle School, high school, and abroad. I'd like to thank you for your time, your consideration, and thank you.
Thank you. After Jason Bull, we have Dennis. Correct? Dennis McGarrow.
Good evening. My name is Jason Bull. I am here on behalf of Ellen and Lisa Evenson, who live off Stone Mill Drive in Cottonwood Heights. They wanted to express and wanted to make it clear that they do support the Utah Renewable Communities program, and they want the city to adopt an ordinance entering into that program. They appreciate the support and leadership you have provided for clean energy options. However, they would like to request further education for residents and business owners in the city regarding this program. It's concerning to hear that neighbors haven't heard about this program at all, that they are unaware of what is on the agenda this evening. The request is to have meaningful conversations. Let's notify every resident and entity in Cottonwood Heights community and ensure that they are aware of what is being proposed. The request is to conduct additional public outreach. The city receives feedback and answers questions. The adoption of this ordinance should be pushed back after discussing it with the community. We understand that there was supposed to be a poll to the residents to find out their thoughts, and this never happened. It was not in the Cottonwood Heights newsletter. It was not posted on the billboard. We've heard that the outreach has been lacking this evening in the education of the residents of the city. So that is the request, that the decision be tabled until further education can be made.
Thank you. Then after Dennis McGarrow, we have John Arthur.
Hi, I'm Dennis McGarrow. I'm a resident and homeowner since 1984. So just a few points, 2019, we were all in. Now we're out. I don't make any sense of that. The money's been paid in. My other thing that really disappoints me is this wasn't in the journal. The public needs to know about this. I've talked to my neighbors. What's that all about? So that's on somebody. I don't know who, but we deserve the information. The opt-in, opt-out, we're adults. We're reasonably smart. Give us that opportunity. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And then as John Arthur's making his way here, to save him time, I'll identify him as our House representative for House District 41. And after him, we have Landon Jacob.
Obviously, you just look at me, I am the representative for this district. Thank you, council members. This is a critically important conversation. As somebody who grew up in this district and loves it so much, went to Brighton High School, I just want to share very quickly that I remember once having a conversation with one of my teachers, and I asked him, why is this called Cottonwood Heights? Right? And it was a conversation about, we've got all these cottonwood trees, and we're up above. And one of the things that the teacher at Brighton High School told me was that because we are in this position, we have a responsibility to the other communities and municipalities in this state, in this county, to lead. And in this discussion, I've heard a lot of people talking about the lack of education. Well, I'll tell you what, I am a school teacher. And the one way that you get time to educate people on this issue, it's not by necessarily pushing this back, because this ordinance has to be passed by June 2nd. But if you pass it and give us the opportunity to plant trees that most of us will not have the opportunity to sit in the shade. I've been teaching 11-year-olds all day. You know the saying, if you give us the opportunity to be a part of a better tomorrow for our children, then that gives us 6 months to go ahead and educate everybody that they can opt out for free. And then it gives us more time to let everybody in this community know why this is better for every one of these kids who's brave enough to step up to the mic. I will gladly go door to door for the next 6 months to give my daughters a better future. And please, I'm just asking you for that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. And after Landon Jacob, we have Jack Atencio and Gwen Higgins.
Good evening. My friend Sam is passing out some graphs that I made. My name is Landon Jacob, and I'm here to talk about the URC. I've been lucky enough to live in Cottonwood Heights my whole life, and I was also lucky enough to have parents who immediately threw me into the mountains and wonderful landscape around us. I have spent a significant amount of time every year adventuring through these canyons and mountain scents. As I've gotten older, something's been impossible to ignore. The air quality is getting significantly worse. At first, I thought maybe that was just because I was paying more attention, but I've realized that it's making itself more obvious. Every summer, I've had to make decisions to not recreate outside more and more due to poor air quality, and those are just for the really bad days. We don't seem to talk about the problem of medium bad days where we each have to make the decision whether or not to sacrifice our lungs and go outside or stay indoors all day. As someone whose life is centered around the outdoors, that's really tough. If you guys look down at the graph before you, the number of green days, clean air days is dropping every single year. And worse than that, we are about to see an increase of 5 times the amount of megawatts generated by gas power plants. This graph before you is going to start looking a lot more like the 1.5 and 2x air quality graphs that I have provided as well. And that is if we only double the amount of output. I understand that we need more energy. I get why so many people are moving here. It's incredible. But I think we can generate this energy in a cleaner fashion because all these people aren't going to want to be here if they can't take advantage of the incredible environment that surrounds them. So rather than adding to the problem, let's try and fix it and say yes to this proposal. Thank you.
Next, we have Jack Atencio and Gwen Higgins. And following that, we have Corrine Higgins.
How's it going, Council? My name is Owen Higgins. And I'm Jack Tensio, and we're 17-year-old juniors in high school. And we're also here to talk about the Utah Renewable Community, and just with the focus on its water impact.
So we're both pretty big skiers, and as you probably know, living in this awesome city at the base of the canyons right here, our snow has been pretty variable over the last couple of years, and it continues to get more polarized.
Yeah, and we just don't want that to get any worse. So if you look at the paper that just got handed out, you notice that natural gas uses a ton of water.
Specifically 12 times as much as gas. And if we transition to more renewable energy, it would bump up the lake effect and, more importantly, help the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah, also I love to fly fish, and these low water levels are definitely putting a stress on fish and results in a less available habitat. Trout local to Utah especially react poorly to these high water temps.
We found the same data that Landon did regarding the natural gas increase, and that is an increase of about 12,000 megawatts. If you multiply that by 300 gallons, that is 3.6 million gallons, which would increase Utah's water use by 3.5%.
That seems a bit ridiculous, especially when the lake is dying and farmers are struggling to get enough cuts because of the lack of water. And we know that this all isn't your fault, but we're just here to ask you not to be a part of the problem. Thank you for your time, and let's delay this vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack and Owen. And now after Corrine Higgins, then we have Coel Wagner.
Hi, my name is Corrine Higgins. I'm 18 years old, and I was raised in a household where I was told that my voice matters, and that's awesome, but right now it seems kind of like a lie. I'm not putting that on you. It's just right now there's a disconnect between the wants of the people and the actions of our legislator. 66% of Utahns and people in this county strongly support developing clean energy. And within Utah, residential solar has quadrupled, as well as the proportion of EVs. Yet, our legislator has passed numerous bills contrary to the wants of the people. Senate Bill 57 in 2025 enabled Utah to ignore federal air quality regulations. HB 186 increased annual fees on electric vehicles. The people, your constituents, are tired of dirty air, and they're taking action. Yet the legislator is failing to follow suit. They've finally given us something that we can say yes to and make a difference. This is where you can finally amplify our voices and represent our wants, as we elected you guys to do, not those of petroleum companies or other large industries. I ask you that you pay attention to us and not others. After all, it's me, everybody with me, all of my friends that are going to have to deal with the fallout of the air and water in this state. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, after Coel, and I say if I'm saying the name wrong, I'm sorry. Then there's Sky Baird.
Good evening. My name's Chaley Wagner. It doesn't look like that at all. So sorry about that. But so I'm a resident of Cottonwood Heights. I had no clue that this was even a question. I happened to hear about it in a goofy little exercise gathering that I was at last week. And that makes me very, very sad. Almost everybody in this room has barely even heard about this. So I'm a little bit shocked at that. So the lack of publicizing of this gives me pause. It should give all of us pause. It should give every one of you pause, to actually be paying attention and see that we don't even know the issues that are at hand. So number one, I absolutely think that we should continue our participation. The argument that people shouldn't have to look at their bill to see if they can opt out is one of the goofier things I've heard. Number two, at bare minimum, I understand that there's a deadline, but this issue warrants a special meeting, a special vote to delay this so that everybody actually knows what's going on in our community. So I would love to see that. I would love to get every bit of transparency out there for our community, for every one of our citizens, whether you agree with this or not, because nobody even knows that it's an issue, that it's up for debate, that there's a possibility that we wouldn't even be participating in this. So that is my request. Number one, continue participation. Number two, at bare minimum, get information out so that your citizens can vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. After Sky, we have Alicia Anderson.
Skylar Baird, District 3. Only $4, just a line upon the bill. A quiet little charge added with the confidence of goodwill. Rocky Mountain Power already stands a monopoly by design, the only road through which our homes receive their current line. These projects, a strong investment for the future. Build them through the company instead of backdooring users. If profits come, the company wins. If costs rise, we pay more still. And future increases may arrive through regulators, not a vote or will. They speak of cleaner air for Utah skies, of inversions, haze, and gray, yet these generation projects won't rise here anyway. The power won't be built out here where our children breathe each day, so how exactly does this fix the air within this valley gray? And if we truly want clean power for Cottonwood Heights to see, then let's build it on our own out here, not fund a distant monopoly. Voluntarily support renewable energy growth. We should absolutely have that choice, freely given, freely chosen. Automatic enrollment upon a bill we cannot avoid feels less like public consensus and more like consent deployed. Opt out, you say. I hear you, loud and clear. No one reads the journal, no one understands why Schedule 100 fee is snuck on their bill. If the price for the monopoly climbs higher in years yet to see, will we come again to comment here, or simply be told the fee? Have the courage to vote no.
Thank you. And after Alicia, who's next? Then there's Alexandra Filipovich.
Everybody came prepared, writing notes. I feel I'm just winging it here. Okay. Yeah, I'm Alicia Anderson. I'm in District 2. Been a resident here for about 7 years now. Before we get time cut off, I'm in support of this. I really am. But I kind of want to introduce you guys a little personal story here. I have family who is in Texas, and I kind of want to time jump to February 2021 when there was that storm front that happened. My family was right in the middle of it, and they were without power for a week. They were cold. They got rid of all of their snow gear because they moved to Texas from Utah. They didn't think that they needed it anymore. And They grabbed every blanket, layered on every sock that they owned, and just huddled all together in the living room. They said that their bones were rattling, their teeth were chattering, and that they could see their breath in the living room. They were so cold. And it was more terrifying for them because they didn't have power for a week. They didn't know when the power was going to come back on. Now, I am actually happy to report my family is fine. There was like no frostbitten toes. They were probably overselling the story a little bit, in my opinion, but I think they were fine. But I just don't want that to happen here. Everybody in their community wasn't safe. It was actually fatal for some members in their community as well. And I don't want that to happen here. It just seems irresponsible when we have the opportunity to take care of our residents. So let's do that. Thank you.
Thank you. After Alexandra, then I believe Runar, do you want to speak, Runar Bomar?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alex, District 2, and I've heard a handful of folks here tonight say that they've lived in Cottonwood Heights for quite some time, and I'm on the other side of things. I'm brand new. I'm a new resident, and I'm really excited to be one. I'm excited to be part of a city that has kind, involved, and concerned community members, and I'm excited to be one of those. And it sounds like a majority of those folks care for health and wellness of ourselves and of our environment. And here's the thing, we have years, not decades, to address the effects of changing climate and increasing energy use. Cottonwood Heights has the opportunity in the palm of its hand to be one of 19 communities leading the renewable energy charge here in Utah. The time is now for you to vote yes on the Community Clean Energy Program and protect the health of your constituents, not to mention your own health. A yes vote on the Clean Energy Program will be a step in the right direction on a timeline that we cannot afford to extend. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Runar.
Hello, Mayor Binion and Council. My name is Runar Bowman, and I'm from District 3. And I'm listening to all these comments today, and I can understand the passion behind them and what have you. But you know, reading this program, it's planning to spend your money, $4 per month, on buying or building a facility somewhere out in like Utah or Wyoming or Idaho, and putting up solar panels on that rangeland. And they want to build out 400 megawatts of capacity. Now, that sounds great, 400 megawatts, wow. But last year, the state of Utah produced 37,445 gigawatts of power into the grid. That's gigawatts, not megawatts. You're talking about clean air and all these wonderful benefits with 400 megawatt energy. I mean, 400 megawatts going into the grid is not, that's not going to register at all. That's like zero. So all this talk about clean air, it's ludicrous. There's no impact whatsoever. You're just burning $4 per month for nothing, because you're not going to make a difference. You're not going to clean the air. It's just 400 megawatts is nothing. This is a really bad plan. It just makes people, it's just a feel-good program is all it really is.
Thank you. Next, Nick Canderas. Do you want to speak, Nick? Some people don't circle. Nick, do you want to? Do you want to speak? Okay. Then after Nick, we have Catherine Kerr.
Hey, yeah, I'm Nick Canderas in District 3, and I first off want to thank you guys that have responded to my email. It really meant a lot to get your feedback and to talk, even though we might disagree on a few issues. But I would like to vote yes on the URC. I do think we need the renewables. I think $4 is a small price to pay for this, and people that are struggling, they'll have help with that. So I would like to see it, and $4, it's going to help a more resilient grid. I know, maybe 400 megawatts right off the bat isn't a lot, but you got to start somewhere, okay? And I retired from Rocky Mountain Power. I know we were stretched. We couldn't keep up with demand, and I think everything's going to help, whether it's wind, solar, geothermal, we need it all, okay? And so I would like to see a more resilient grid along with the health benefits of it. And lastly, as far as the opt-out, I think we will have time. We can reach out to our neighbors. That shouldn't be an issue. We can reach out to those people and let them know what's going on. So I'd like to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. After Catherine Kerr, we have Ben Donner.
My name's Catherine Kerr. I am a business owner here. And I just am concerned again about health. I have family members that have been hospitalized with pneumonia that can't go out and walk around at certain times of the year here. I'd like to see us transition to cleaner energy to reduce harmful pollutants that's worsening respiratory illnesses for many of us. Rocky Mountain Power still generates roughly 58% of its electricity from fossil fuels, including heavy reliance on coal. Transitioning to renewable energy through URC could cut community-wide emissions significantly, up to 45% in some cities. I think that gentleman possibly that was kind of minimizing how much, we're talking about 19 different communities. Part of it is Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County. So that increases the amount of renewables we're going to have. Anyway, we need to, again, we're concerned about our tourism. We're concerned about the Great Salt Lake. We're concerned about having the Olympics here. We can't keep sucking everything out of the environment and have anything left for our offspring. Thank you.
Thank you. And then after Ben Donner, we have Bridget Higgins, and she's our final card that I have. Oh, one more.
Hello, I'm Ben Donner. I'm here as a resident of Cottonwood Heights and District 2, as well as a professional in the industry. I'd like to ask you to vote yes to stay in the URC. I believe anyone who wants to sink this program due to the opt-out issues are arguing in bad faith. Either you don't feel you have the ability to reach your own community to educate them in 6 months' time, or you think your constituents are too stupid to make their own decisions. We all know neither of those are true, so if you value the health and well-being of your constituents, you must vote yes to stay in the program. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I missed one more card. So we have Bridget Higgins, followed by Jen Cottom.
Hi, my name is Bridget Higgins. I am a resident in District 3 and wanted to start the evening by just expressing how impressed I am with the young people who have spoken tonight. This is such a discouraging time in our country, and I think the only hope that I have some days is that we can have some impact in our own neighborhood, our own block, our own city about what is happening, and that we can have some faith that the people who are elected in this city that we call home are truly listening to what we want, to what our fears are, to what the solutions we feel are going to help our community be a better place to live. And the kids speaking tonight, the students speaking tonight are so inspirational to me. I think there's just no doubt that the younger generation understands what's at stake, and they are willing to speak out for that. And I'm just very impressed by them. I'm here as a mother and an educator. Every day I watch children grow up in a state with a dying Great Salt Lake with some of the worst air quality in the country. It's heartbreaking to watch leaders continue to prioritize short-term inconvenience over long-term health and the future of our communities. Many people have spoke to the science behind this, but I just think that we, our elected officials, it's your job to prioritize the future and kind of work through the short-term difficulties about opt-in, opt-out, educating people. We need to be thinking long-term about this world and that we're leaving to our kids, because none of you are going to be here to deal with the consequences
Thank
of
Okay.
what's happening.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Jen Cottom. Thank you for having me. I've been here for 20 years. I love Cottonwood Heights. And tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about why, we've been talking a lot about the additional cost of this, of the $4 a month. But I think we should also talk honestly about the cost of not doing it. So since May of 2020, the cost of real estate in Cottonwood Heights, the median cost per square foot has gone up 68%. Okay. People move here because it's beautiful. People move here because of quality of life. They want to spend time in the mountains. I can tell you as a realtor, people look at quality of life, and the environmental quality is an important part of that. Clean air matters to families. Clean air matters to the elderly. Clean air matters to young professionals. And clean air matters to businesses who are considering where to move. And protecting our environment is protecting our property values. I think that's important to each and every one of us here. I know that economic strength is important, but I also feel like there's a moral strength. We've got to consider our moral obligation we cannot stay on the same path and expect different results. Renewable energy is the future. We will move toward it, but when are we going to do it? It's places like us, places that have economic strength that can move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment. I want to thank everyone for speaking within the time limit and being courteous, and thank you. Now we will move on in our agenda to reports. Yeah.
Sorry, just real quick, in light of the number of people that are here, if you want to postpone these or table them or push them to the end of the action items, we can do that.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So we will move on then to our action items so that we can begin that. And the first action item is 7.1, consideration of Ordinance 464, enacting Code Chapter 9.63, Community Clean Energy Program. And as we begin this action item, are there any comments from our staff or from our council?
I think given the accusations and some of the comments, I think every single one of us would like to give comment, but we have not agreed in an order for that. And so I'd like the council to address that.
Okay, how about, could we just start with council number 1 and then go down the line, and I will take a turn at the end? Is that sufficient?
Yeah, happy to do that. I had remarks that I put down on paper today, and as I look at those remarks, I had an experience earlier today that kind of reshaped that a little bit for me. I want this to be clear to everybody. There's a lot of discussion about if you don't act in a certain way, you're not compassionate or you don't care. I had an experience. I was reached out to by a resident that lives off of La Cresta, right behind kind of the Greenfield area in District 1. And she reached out because of water rates and some of the issues that she's having on paying her water bill. So I decided to go over to her home. It was an interesting experience. It was pretty run down. The door was actually kept closed with duct tape. I've talked to a lot of people in this community that say, we can afford these things. Everyone's doing okay. And I promise you that's not always the case. And as I go and talk to this resident, they're talking about water rates, and we had a really good discussion. And I brought up Utah Renewable Communities and the fact that we're going to be talking about this today. And I did say that, I believe in renewables. I truly do. I am grateful to have been part of a team that helped actually bring Tier 3 fuels to the state of Utah for the first time, that reduces emissions from a vehicle that it was manufactured after 2017, 80% reduction on every single vehicle in this valley. I absolutely care about these things. But when I talked to her about this issue and I said, hey, this would be a $4 charge per month, you would be able to opt out. She said, Matt, I go to the grocery store and I sit there and I'm on fixed income. And when I check out, I am removing things from my cart that are less than $4 because I can't actually afford that item. And those are real choices that some of these people have to make. And as I said, look, you will get a notice. And she said, Matt, do you see I have an N95 mask on? My husband just got done with cancer treatment. We are barely surviving to open up the notices that we have to pay for the surgeries that we can't afford. I do not have the wherewithal to be able to keep up with these tax notices or anything that's going on. I had another experience where I went and met with a family member who lives in Holiday, and that family member is in a community that is looking at this policy. He immigrated from South Korea, and I sat there at his table, and I had him open up all of his bills, and I had him please explain to me what all of these things mean and what action you believe that you can take. And he couldn't really communicate more than a dollar amount that he owed and where he needed to send it. I truly believe in my heart, and I feel for these people, that to say that there is a choice for everybody, I do believe in many instances is a false choice. As I look at this program, I do not believe that it is an equitable program. I believe there are an unfair structure that was put in place. I believe that marketing was put over equity. As you look at $4 a month, there are people in District 1 who have massive energy consumption, that have multiple electric vehicles, that have a ton of flexibility in their income. They're going to pay the exact same fee as somebody who is in an apartment that is barely putting food on the table, that is dreaming about maybe one day I can save enough money to try to get into a home. And I do not take action of government lightly. Every time that I have to sit up here and make a decision on how we're going to impact someone's pocketbook, it is very tough for me. And I side, I'll just be honest, I side on the side of no for those reasons. And I just really, really struggle with that. I did get confirmation today that there is a bill that is going to be filed and opened at the state legislature to make this program an opt-in program. Public policy is iterative. Many people have come to me and said, please allow us the choice. And if you vote no, you are removing that choice from us. And I would hope that those people would also embrace choice and true choice. And if we can turn this program into an opt-in, I will fight. I will do everything that I can to make sure that this program can be an opt-in, and then a vote, whatever happens today, that it is not the end, but that we can embrace individuals who can decide and say, I can afford this. I am actively going to choose to take action. And without that, I really struggle with it. And for that reason, I will not be able to support the program.
Thank you. Perhaps we should put a 5-minute limit on.
You should have had me go last, see?
No, I'm just saying that, yeah, that's a good limit for us.
That's partly fair, but I think it's.
I mean, he went about 5.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying that's
Okay.
a good limit.
Before I make my planned public statement, I just have to address the accusations. This program has been in council meetings since January. So to say that it hasn't been brought to you is just lack of attention, which is what we're talking about with the opt-out. Lack of attention right now is a serious issue. The URC town hall that we have been accused of not supporting, we were given 4 days notice. And I couldn't attend with 4 days notice, but we also, out of respect and deference to our mayor, that was her town hall, that we didn't crash the party, so to speak. The flash vote has been talked about. I have reached out to flash vote. In fact, I was the one who brought that to the city. And part of the promise of flash vote is that we would develop a member panel that was representative of our community. It does not represent our community, so therefore any results would be biased. And I have a phone call with them on Thursday to figure out how we can make that better. The newsletter. The article was not sent to the council until too late for us to be able to make changes. And first of all, the newsletter should not be used as political debate. It's for information. And we were concerned that it was not a balanced article, and had we had more time, we could have remedied that. So I just wanted to put that out on the record. That's what we've done. Now, that said, I appreciate thoughtful public engagement, and I've heard from those who are passionately supportive and those who oppose. And so thank you tonight for being so respectful. I have done so much research on this. In fact, I listened to the most boring Public Service Commission meetings to find out what was happening there. And in December, when they were hearing this, the commissioner said to all of his panel, he said, I've been doing this for 40 years, and I want to remind this panel that we always hear from the passionate, but we also represent those who are not here, who are less passionate. There are 33,000-ish people who are not here tonight who may be less passionate about this, and nonetheless, we need to, I feel very obligated to represent. Clean air and reduced dependence on fossil fuels are common sense goals. The intent of this program is good. You should expect your elected officials to reach beyond the feel-good sound bites to understand the structure of any legislation and how it will impact citizens. I spent countless hours doing that. So my vote is not a statement against good intentions, but must reflect the structure of the program and any inherent risks to the city and residents. The opt-out mechanism is not real choice. It was chosen because the math of opt-in isn't convenient. I can't imagine us establishing a precedent that a government entity can vote to involuntarily subscribe its residents to an optional product or service. The opt-out model exploits human frailties to not notice or fail to act by forgetfulness, inattention, or indifference. This precedence matters. It's government overreach bordering on coercion. Opt-in is real freedom because it recognizes a consumer's right to choose to act and not to be acted upon. If the organizers of this clean energy program were so confident in citizen support, it should have been structured as an opt-in. And lest you think we're wrong in that, approximately 240 Utah cities and towns and 26 Utah counties saw the program structure and rejected it years ago. When it's opt-in, I'm all in. One other major concern, there's no off-ramp. There's no off-ramp for communities to exit URC if the program doesn't deliver. If the costs escalate or the benefits decline for our city, neither I nor a future city council can withdraw our city to protect residents. That's bad governance. I know we have a vote. I do not support the voting structure that has been implemented in the URC because it either gives a town like Springdale as much voting power as we do, or in certain circumstances, it gives Salt Lake City too much power. So briefly, the program burden is on the residential customer with no guarantees. URC has projected that 20% of residents will opt out, 70% of commercial will opt out, and 95% of industrial will opt out because of the higher charges to businesses. I heard from a general manager of a ski resort this week who said they estimate $50,000 to $70,000 for their annual cost, and he does not think his shareholders will support that because they will want to put those dollars to more predictable sustainability efforts. It does not provide direct energy benefit to our cities or citizens. Dollars could go to economic development in Wyoming and Idaho. Projects don't have to be in Utah. Dollars aren't restricted to renewables, compared to what you've been told. They can go to nuclear or for energy efficient and sustainable technologies such as carbon capture of fossil fuels. The regressive fee for residents is not fair. And there's no requirement in the future to mark this fee as optional on utility bills. Supporters note that future participation is optional with a punitive $30 cancellation fee, but no one will know that because it's not marked as optional in the future. Last, I've got to just kind of end with some good news. Utah is already adding a significant amount of solar capacity. Steve Handy, who was the sponsor of this original bill in 2019, wrote an op-ed. Since 2015, approximately 94% of new electric generating capacity added in Utah has been solar. That's not because of government mandate, it's because the market is speaking and solar is competitive. And then he sent me this book, Inflection Point, which says, we don't need government subsidies anymore. We've reached a tipping point. We're going to see more renewables. Today, NPR said, just in its news feed, roughly 22% of Utah's electricity comes from renewables such as wind, solar, and hydropower. And last, I do have to tell you the good news about clean air. Our air gets cleaner and cleaner every year. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency recently announced that Salt Lake City and Provo areas have met the 2006 PM 2.5 24-hour national ambient air quality standard targets and are now in attainment after 15 years. Meeting the PM 2.5 standard underscores all of the hard work that Utah has done over the past decades to improve air quality. This demonstrates that Utah can meet federal air quality standards in a way that respects local priorities and fosters cooperative federalism. I do think we should focus on those gains and not just the fear-mongering headlines that we tend to gravitate towards.
Thank you for making it hard to follow you two. One of the things that I'm really concerned about is the fact that folks are coming to us thinking we are not concerned about clean air. We are. I am specifically. I do a lot of things to conserve water. I don't have a sprinkler system in my home, and I still garden and I still have a lawn, but I'm very conservative in that. I'm conservative in the way that we travel, to not drive our vehicles all over the place, planning to ride with each other, to pick up my grandkids as a group, to be able to enjoy activities. I'm really concerned about the equity issue. I'm really concerned about the people that cannot afford to be able to pay this bill. I talked to a young woman that lives in a one-bedroom apartment just across the way here, across Fort Union, and she's paying $1,300 a month. She's working 2 jobs. She can barely pay her bills. And we're going to be able to stack something upon her that she does not even know exists. There's dozens, hundreds, probably thousands of people in that situation. And that is where I have a hard time. If this was an opt-in program, I'd be all in. And I'd be opted in, to tell you the truth. But as it is, the way that it's going to impact those that aren't here, that don't hear, don't get the chance to have the time to read their bills when they're just trying to struggle to figure out how to pay their bills. That's where I run into an issue. Our businesses, I've walked around and talked to a number of our businesses, and the business people don't even know this is here. They're going to receive a heavy impact if this is initiated. They had no idea. If people start to opt out and it gets to a point to where there's very few people in, people will be paying them a lot more for this opportunity. We're not saying that this is over. We're saying that the mechanism that's in place right now is not the mechanism that is going to work for us. For me, this is not the mechanism. There will be a better way put together. My peer over here, Mr. Holton, has worked real hard with our legislature to be able to address this. These are things that people don't talk about when they start to come up here and excoriate him for doing the work that he does. We do this because we are passionate about our community. We do the work because we do care about each and every one of you. But we have to do it in the right way. We have to make sure that we're not going to put ourselves into a pit that comes back to bite us. That is something that I can't live with. If this goes sideways on us because we have no guardrails to be able to protect us as a community, I can't handle that. I've asked many questions from many organizations, including the URC folks, that they can't seem to answer. If you cannot answer questions about your own program, do you think I'm going to put trust in it and put the trust of our community in that? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So we're going to continue to work on this. But right now, this is not the mechanism for us to be able to do what we need to do as a community.
Well, I can only say that I wish my council colleagues had given so much scrutiny to our budget over the last 2 to 4 years and some other things in the city. There has been a number of things stated tonight that are not the same materials I've read. So let's go back through some of the things that have been stated tonight. This is not a burden on low-income people. And I stand with all the residents who came to the microphone tonight and said, we can work together as a community. We can knock on doors. We can help our fellow residents to understand the program. And this is not a burden. It is certainly not a burden on the city. I'm not sure where that idea came from. Should this program fail, this is not a financial burden on the city. The city has already paid $20,000. And did you know that we hired a sustainability manager back in that 2018 period? Do you know what an FTE, a full-time employee, costs you as the taxpayer? And when I served my first year in office, which was in 2022, I asked the city manager, what is our sustainability manager doing? And a couple weeks later, I was told, well, she goes to a monthly meeting with Rocky Mountain Power for the Renewable Communities Program. And I said, well, that's great. And is there anything else that she's doing? Well, about 2 weeks after that, her title changed. And she was a planner slash, business license slash sustainability analyst. The point that I'm trying to make is that there have been 19 communities throughout throughout Utah that have been coming together every month for the last 7 years to put together a program that would make systemic difference. I think it's great that Councilman Newell, that many of us in this room conserve water when we water our gardens and do these things. That's great. But for many of us, and this is the thing that people that have brought up the surveys, when surveyed, people say core health comes from clean air, clean water, and on my book, soil is right in there. So for us, this opportunity to make this choice is something that is historic. In my lifetime in Utah, I have never seen anything advanced in any meaningful way. So we're not talking small measures. We're talking about the idea that we systemically move forward as a state. And according to IRENA, which is the International Renewable Energy Agency, which is the leading global intergovernmental organization driving the worldwide energy transition, they have stated that in 2024, over 90% of new electricity generating capacity came from renewable sources. 90%. Why? Why in countries where they don't have the level of affluence that we have in the United States? Why are they choosing this? This, as Councilmember Highland shared the book, this inflection point was reached a year ago. So yes, this is going to continue, but it also states in that very same book that when government policy is not, it pushes back and does not advance or usher in the renewables, we could be 10 years behind the kind of schedule that we can otherwise finally move ahead. I mean, how many of us wanted this to move ahead in 2010, 2015, 2020? Here we are in 2026, and we have the chance for the amount of electricity that's used of those that opt to stay in it. It'll be completely carbon neutral by 2030. That is a step in the right direction. And I think that the D3 constituent tonight who said, I'm doing this for the young people. Can you imagine the level, our Health in the Heights Committee studies depression in young people. They look toward the future and they say, what's in this for me? This is our chance to be the city on the hill that makes choices that inspire those other 240 cities who couldn't, they found something wrong with it. I've never asked whether I want coal generation when I pay my RMP bill. Hey, Ellen, do you want to opt into coal and oil? No, I just pay that bill. And when it goes up and up and up, and that's another thing in the book, we know that renewables are based on manufacturing. And their proposition is that the cost is going down, 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 because when things are manufactured in high volume, the cost goes down, down, down. Contrastingly, the extraction industry has already picked the low fruit. To get oil and gas out of the ground or out of the oceans, out of the Arctic, costs a lot of money. So when we say we don't like the look of those solar farms, well, I'm not particularly enamored with looking out at solar farms, but What is the alternative? So
A reminder on time.
yes, well, I don't think I've taken more time than my colleagues here. So please, if somebody can tell me I'm taking more time, let me know. I guess that's what the mayor's saying. Okay, so I just want to emphasize that we can get through this as a community, and thank you for all those who came tonight and expressed themselves.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, I just want to make a few clarifications. This is a program that has been studied for and worked on for these past 7 years. Again, it was passed bipartisan in our legislature with, out of the senators, 23 out of the 29 voting for it. It has had those 7 years because it has been really carefully thought out. So that in that $4, 12 cents of that goes for low income households, so that they would never have to pay to opt out. And the goal would be that as we educate people about the program, that more people that would apply for those benefits would find out that they apply and have them. Also, this is a program that aims to have renewable energy by 2030. Nuclear and geothermal, as much as I like geothermal, they don't happen in that short of a time frame, and they are out of the price range of this program that we have. So we're really limiting it to solar and wind. And we cannot pull this program back at this point to change it. It is moving forward. We can't go back and change it to an opt-in program. 83% of the communities that are on board are already moving forward and have voted to stay in. So it will be moving forward with or without us. As for the article that was written, it was written by our staff member who has been attending the Utah Renewable Communities monthly meetings for the time that he has been with our city, and these minutes have been kept during the 7 years from the past employees attending these meetings. I don't believe that always our city, currently I serve on the URC board, and I can say that in the past there's been a failure of the person from our council to attend those meetings. So I thought that the article was just informative, and I'm sorry that we were not able to share it with the community because of the majority council decision. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan goal, 50% renewable electrical power for Saudi Arabia. And the reason that we're not on that path is because Rocky Mountain Power does not have it in their plan to add renewable energy. And that is partly being governed and focused by our legislature. So this is a program that allows us, these 19 communities, to have a say in what energy we have delivered to us. I also think about the Olympics. And when Salt Lake City made the bid for the Olympics back in several years ago, in the area of sustainable energy for host communities, Salt Lake City passed a joint resolution addressing climate change, and they included these words in their bid. The Community Renewable Energy Program, formed following the passage of the aforementioned legislation, was the first program of its kind in the U.S. All communities hosting Olympic and Paralympic competitions have pledged to rely on at least 60% renewable energy by 2030. So if we are not keeping up the promise that we made as one of these communities, we are letting down the bid that we put forward, with the vast majority committing to 100% renewables by that time. So our community is part of the communities in our state ready for this. And then, and this is again from their documents, Rocky Mountain Power has provided its enthusiastic support for future games in Utah and is the largest regulated utility owner of wind power in the U.S., Western U.S. So, and it's again, it talks in 3 other places in this that this is a commitment that we made in bringing the Olympics here. So for our community here at the base of the canyons to stay in this program reflects our commitment to these values. For many reasons, I support this program. It is well thought out. It has guardrails. It meets under the Public Service Commission yearly, and is a partnership with Rocky Mountain Power overseen by the Public Service Commission, so that guardrails are there. And I will close my remarks now, and we will take some, if there's no further comments, we'll take some motions.
Well, I would like to make a motion. I motion that we delay the vote until June 2nd on consideration of Ordinance 464, enacting Code Chapter 9.63, the Community Clean Energy Program.
We'll second that motion. It was not until about, barely 2 weeks ago that we heard we would not be having the article in the paper. And that is why then we decided to have an open house like 2 days after that, and set the open house with like 4 days notice. So things have been moving quickly, and as we see, there are many people who would like to know more, who would like to connect with us as representatives, and I hope that we would all have open minds to continue learning, so I support this. Yes, we'll take a vote. Okay. Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Newell.
No.
Councilmember Highland.
No, we have had more than enough time to be able to talk about this program, and it was originally scheduled for tonight and then moved and then back for tonight.
Thank you. And Councilmember Holton.
No.
Thank you. All right, then I will take another motion. All in support of the Utah of consideration of Ordinance 464, enacting Code Chapter 9.63, Community Clean Energy Program. I will take a roll call vote. Let me get my paperwork here.
You have to have a motion
Okay,
before there can be a vote.
Sorry, go ahead.
I motion that we pass the Ordinance 464, enacting Code Chapter 9.63, Community Clean Energy Program.
I will second that motion. Then I'll take a vote. Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Newell.
No.
Councilmember Highland.
No.
Councilmember Holton.
I make a commitment that I will do everything I can to make this an opt-in. And I hope that does happen with that. I believe that is ultimate choice. And with that, I vote no.
Okay, and I vote yes. Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. It is consideration of Ordinance 465, amending Code Sections 19.75.50 and 19.76.30 regarding separate utility meters. Okay, we had an opportunity.
Could we wait just a moment
Yeah.
for the commotion to
Yeah.
end? And if needed, I would also suggest we just, well, or maybe close the doors just so that those who are still here can.
I think the chair can run the meeting.
Okay, we discussed this ordinance in our work session. Is there any further staff comments? Seeing none, I welcome a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept ordinance 465.
I will second that motion.
Okay, thank you. I will take the vote then. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
and Councilmember Holton.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, then on our agenda, we have consideration of ordinance 466, adopting a revised map provided by UFA showing the hazardous areas in the city being closed to firework. And I believe we have further comment here.
Yeah. I move that we approve ordinance 466, adopting a revised map showing the hazardous areas in the city being closed to fireworks, but with the following handwritten changes to the map previously circulated as shown in blue shading on the attachment, and a request for UFA to promptly provide a revised final map incorporating those handwritten changes. The additional areas shall include the area east of Highland Drive, south of Larita to the Cottonwood Heights city boundary, the area south of Creek Road adjacent to Oakdale Elementary, the area south of Bengal Boulevard, east of Brighton High, extended into the current proposed restriction at Brighton Cove Circle, the area south of Fort Union Boulevard, east of Sagebrush Way, extended to current restrictions in place at Bywater Park along Walnut Way, the area east of Benicia Way, encompassing the area between the Cottonwood office complex south to Hollow Mill Drive.
And I'll second ordinance 466.
Thank you. And I think, would staff, would our Riley Pilgrim like to speak to us before the vote?
Yes, and I'll be brief. What I have up displayed now is the purple was our originally proposed areas, which enhances restrictions that we've had for a few years. After doing some site visits and taking feedback from residents and the council, we proposed those purple areas, and then tonight in conversation, we decided to add the blue just to enhance the current restrictions, all within the state statute that allows us to do so.
Thank you. I like to thank our, I'm going to forget the title, Battalion Chief Pilgrim has quickly added these additions to the map, and you can see how clean these lines are. This is something that we discussed in the meeting. This allows clarity for residents, for law enforcement, and it goes according to our state statute.
I'd just like to make a comment that we did just carefully deliberate this in the work session, and safety first, especially in this drought-prone year. And so we appreciate Chief Pilgrim extending these restrictions, and then for the civil dialogue and discussion that we had about what might make the most sense for our city.
Thank you. So after we've had the motion and the second, so are there any further
No,
questions
ma'am.
for any? Okay. Then we will go ahead with the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
and Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Now we have consideration of ordinance 467, granting a cable TV system franchise to Comcast of Utah 2 Incorporated. And this company has been operating in our city, we discussed in our work session, but is now coming forward with the franchise agreement. Is there any further comments from staff? Then I would welcome a motion.
I will motion to approve ordinance 467, granting a cable TV system franchise to Comcast.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Now I will take the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Now we have consideration of Resolution 2026-31, approving an agreement with H.W. Lochner Incorporated for design services for the Bengal Boulevard pedestrian trail. This is another item that we discussed fairly long and carefully in our work session. Are there any other comments from staff or council, questions or comments?
Well, I will say that this has been in front of the council for more than 4 years. And so it's nice to see this advancing, and anything that makes our roadways, particularly our intersections and crossings, safer is a good thing. And so I am happy to advance the motion for consideration of Resolution 2026-31, approving an agreement with H.W. Lochner Incorporated for design services for the Bengal Boulevard pedestrian trail.
I'll second.
And I'd like to add that despite the differences tonight, that this is where we agree, that Councilmember Burrell has helped me walk along Bengal Boulevard. We have agreed that this particular corridor is, or should be, our most walkable and bikeable. We have schools along this boulevard. We have the rec center. We have so much reason to make this our priority in our city. And so thank you for the patience with us as we've engaged shareholders, stakeholders, people who are interested. And it is indeed exciting that this can move forward. So thank you.
Thank you. With that, I will take our vote.
Did we already motion? Yeah, we did motion, and Councilmember Newell
I'm
seconded.
getting lost. Okay, I'll take the vote. Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
Councilmember Newell.
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
And Councilmember Holton.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. And that ends a long saga for our Public Works Department. And then the final resolution we have tonight is Resolution 2026-32, consenting to appointments to the Cottonwood Heights Historic Committee.
And I'm so delighted to serve as the liaison to the Cottonwood Heights Historic Committee. This is a group of remarkable people. It's just, in fact, I should have mentioned that on Memorial Day at 9 a.m. at the Pioneer Cemetery there on Creek Road, there's going to be a ceremony, and I hope I can get there, and I bet it'll be very special. So I would like to motion that we advance the consideration of Resolution 2026-32, consenting to appointments to the Cottonwood Heights Historic Committee.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So I will take the vote. Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton.
Yes.
Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
And Councilmember Newell.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, that finishes our action items for this evening, and we are left with our consent calendar, which is approval for the minutes for the City Council work session and business meetings of April 7th, 2026 and April 21st, 2026.
I'll motion to approve the consent calendars for the dates stated.
I'll second.
Okay. Then
It's a voice vote.
we just need a voice vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mayor, before we adjourn, we still need to address the reports if you want to
Oh,
hear them
thank
tonight.
you. I
or-
would like
oh,
to hear them
okay.
if that's okay.
Yes, we
Okay,
still-
then we will go ahead with our reports. We don't want to fall behind, and our staff is here. So we'll go back to our Public Works report. I'm sorry, I should have gone before. Okay. That was good to get that. Okay. We have Public Works Director Matt Shipp will give us a report. Thank you.
Oh. I like the font and I like me, so we all agree on that tonight. Okay, Mayor and Council, once again, give me a second to figure out how this works again. There's got to be a button that says start. We're going with this. All right. Thank you. Okay, you are the man. Thank you. I got this, guys. I really do. There we go. Okay, Mayor and Council, thank you. Here we go. Quarterly report from Public Works. I will try to be brief, but there's something at the end I'd like to kind of highlight. So we'll go through this. Thanks, Jim, for saving me. Some things that are going on around Cottonwood Heights, some things we did this last little bit. I'm sure the police will bring this up, but in May 4th, we partnered with Police Department and the city as Public Works and did some help in cleaning up in a neighborhood for an individual who having a tough time about keeping their property and things up to date. So we went in and we helped clean the area of a lot of debris, hauled away a lot of stuff, and we appreciate the support of the police department and getting us involved in that. But so we took care of that and we went that way. We had a lot of employees in there, a lot of cleanup, and so just wanted to share that with you. We have been doing through this last little bit, we started our concrete grinding program. And if you'll recall, every year we have a budgeted amount and we follow a process around the city so that we are working on trip hazards. And this is just one of the examples. So that's been going on for the last few months. And that is not the concrete program. This is the trip hazard program. We're still taking care of some of the bigger ones that can't be ground down, that need a lot more attention. So we replaced about 350 panels or ground about 350 panels during this process. Some projects that are going on. This is a picture you're looking at over on Stager Way. We have finished the design for this and we will be moving forward with that. We're advertising and we anticipate completing that in this summer. Some waterway improvements that are going on. These are also your stormwater monies at work. We're designed the waterway, once again, positive flow. These things are bus stops that really bring them forward. So a lot of these things are happening. There's also one at a school crosswalk that's over on 2700. That's been brought up quite a bit, and we are taking care of that. And then we have the Greenfield Drive and the Brook Hill area where we also have the same thing. What's happening is we get a lot of sagging in these curbs or in these waterways, and when we as you can see, the problems exist, and we have these all over the city. We are trying to take care of them as schedule and budget allows, but this is some of the projects we're bringing forward. We also have, you will be seeing in front of you sometime in hopefully by next council meeting, we'll begin a contract for the rehabilitation and the overlay of Highland Drive, which will take us from about Bengal Boulevard to 215. And badly in need of maintenance on that road. So we're trying to get that taken care of. So we'll be bringing that, we're going to be advertising and bringing that back to you, probably 2 council meetings. I apologize. We still need to go through the advertising process. Other projects that are in design over on 30th East on Big Cottonwood Canyon Trail. We have that crossing that goes over right by Public Works on 30th East and right by Public Works. There you go. And on there, this is part of the RDA funds that are over in that area. So this is funds that have been allocated to this location, and we're using those funds to improve that trail crossing. And what's happening there, the design, we're bringing it in about 15 feet on both sides, shorten the distance, lights, and then also changing, we'll just say the radius right now. So if you go over there right now, well, obviously at winter when trucks are coming in and out of their plows, both UDOT and Cottonwood Heights, there's a bad line of sight for residents who are trying to cross that road going across there. So we're improving the line of sight, shortening the distance for people that have to walk. Like I said, lights and those things will be going on. So that will be coming out to bid. It's out to bid actually right now. So when we open those, we will bring that contract forward to you. I'm thinking at the next council meeting for approval for the actual construction. Fort Union Mill and Overlay, this is from New Tree West. This is also part of a project about a little while ago. You'll know the Metro project is going on in there. They overlaid our section of road. When they finished that, we joint partnered with them, and using the same contractor like for cost savings, we're extending that from New Tree to about 230th East. So we'll be milling and overlaying and cleaning that up, restriping it. It's a maintenance project. It's not a reconstruction. It's to keep the asphalt keep the road from falling apart. And as things come along, we have some projects, some federal aid projects that are in that area that we'll be bringing forward next year that we can take a look at for improvements on pedestrians and bicyclists through that area. So that will be happening, and that should be starting here in the next month or so. So other things, this is the next move and that we have designed and put forward for the neighborhoods reconstruction. This is over in the we call it the Cardiff rebuild. You remember, we take a road in that area and we kind of give it a name. This one happens to be Cardiff. You can see the areas that are outlined in red. We started on the west, and we've been keep working our way to the east, and these are neighborhoods that have been around a long time, and the roads have been identified as needing complete reconstruction, curb gutters and waterways and the entire area. We are working with Wasatch Front. We received the grant, and we're doing the design for the intersection of Highland and Fort Union. We've been asked to look at adding a third lane back in there, also evaluating access management. That means a lot. It can mean anywhere from barriers to signs. We don't know, but we're finishing that. That's the 30% design, as well as the environmental, so that we can move forward on that project. And then the Highland Trails Phase 3, this is on the west side of Highland, on north of Fort Union. We've been through that, but we are now at the 30% design, and we are going to be sitting on that for right now and seeking funds. We're going to be working with the Utah Trails Network, finding funding for that, and also some funding for some other projects on trails in that area, as this is identified as one of the major backbones in the Trails Network plan. Other
Wait,
thing,
time out.
backing up, yes?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
So there's a Cardiff rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
There is in our 5-year plan that the road to the east, which is Brighton Way,
Correct.
would be done this year too. It's still your belief that we could get that done, but just not right now?
It would, what this will do is carry into the same, this budget, but we're always behind a year. The capital funds stay in there. It's not like the general funds where we have to pull them out. The capital funds stay. So we are continually 1 year, not necessarily behind, but working our way through it. So this is monies from last capital we're going to move. So next year we will start the next phase, which is on this fiscal year coming up.
So it's still this fiscal year?
Yes, coming up.
Still keeps the promise that's on the website for the rebuild?
It keeps the promise as far as we have the budget to do it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
So the Highland Fort Union intersection improvements,
Mm-hmm.
to my recollection, when this was discussed at a council meeting in 2025, I was under the impression that that there wasn't necessarily a council majority in favor of adding a third lane or having this project be focused on that third lane. So can you help me to understand a little better? Am I remembering this? Perhaps one of my council colleagues can help me here, but I know that Councilmember Highland and I have a lot of concern about things in and around that intersection. But the idea of pressing, and the eminent domain or purchasing the properties along that east side, south of Fort Union. Did we have consensus on that?
We did have consensus to move forward, and with the ask that they strongly consider the medians and for that intersection, that they study that and make that a priority, because if we were going to add a third lane, that would be a crucial add, especially to keep people from turning in and out of the McDonald's and the Starbucks. So my recollection is that we wanted to go ahead with the design and see what possibilities there are.
And if I can add to that, I actually think we put it in, if I remember correctly, I actually think that we did a motion between the two of us in person to add that median study, but then I remember we also added language to also study the impacts to local businesses, if you remember that.
I do.
So I remember we actually took actual action on this item with those considerations.
Well, and I know I remember bringing up strongly, and we got a testimony from our active transportation chair that there was a real concern that if this is being done, of course, I don't see it in this description, but it was originally sold to me years ago that this was going to be a vast improvement for the safety of our bicyclists and, all users on the roadway. And so I guess I'm just want to go on the record that I have a concern that the focus be on adding an additional lane when I would rather see the focus be on safety.
Okay.
Go ahead, help us understand.
Okay, so the project is, the intersection project is one we were directed to and we received a federal aid grant for. We received about, I think, $2 million for the improvement of this intersection. And part of that intersection was we were asked to look at we'll call it access management. I don't really know what it looks like, but we are evaluating access management, and that will be part of the 30% design. We are also evaluating the lanes, adding to or leaving as is, as was directed. Now, all of this is going on in the original 30%. Now, when we talk about, if you'll recall, when we talk about the 30% design, that also takes into account the environmental that has to be done when you are doing federal aid projects. That money comes on our dime. It's not part of the funding that comes out of federal aid. What we've done is we've taken the transportation impact fee money as directed by the council and used that to do this 30% study / environmental document. We can then take that and move forward with the intersection, the federal aid money for the final design. So, but that money becomes available, I believe, next year or the year after when it's programmed to start. So we aren't there yet. I agree with you, the intersection, and that needs to be looked at. Part of this also is the trail. The other federal aid projects we have up and down this road involves the trail, which also involves the crossings of Fort Union and trying to figure out the best way to make that happen in that type of intersection.
One of the best things that I've heard, and I know Councilmember Burrell and I have talked a lot about even what's happening north of Fort Union on Highland Drive, is the proposal that the pedestrians and bicyclists on this trail can cross safely at 7200 South, and then they'd be on the west side of Highland.
Correct.
We could continue the trail. And so I think there's a lot to look at, but I do remember specifically approving the 30% design and then looking for alternatives.
Well, and something, and I won't take a lot of time, I know we're running late tonight, but one of my concerns always is the safe routes to school. And I did have a meeting with some of the PTA members from Bella Vista Elementary concerned about how those children are going to get across Fort Union Boulevard and to their new school next year. And I was surprised to learn that the lead people in the PTA insist that those children be bused because they think, and this is, I'm literally quoting them, that the intersection that I consider safer than Fort Union Boulevard, which is 7200 South, they consider it far more dangerous than any intersection, including Fort Union Boulevard, because they said that there's an offset in the way that if you're coming from the east to the west, it had to do with the lineup of the left-hand turning motorists. Anyways, you're nodding your head, so this isn't news to you. So it is something, though, that was news to me. And I am very interested in doing what we can as soon as we can to meet and understand and help me to understand. So that's something we can do in a meeting one-to-one. But thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
for,
Yes, ma'am. We can certainly look at that. And we've been working with the school district on their safe routes. We meet with them, and I've actually met with them a couple of times regarding what's going to happen with the Bella Vista students. So they're aware of it, and we're aware of it, and I believe they've spoken to the police department and crossing guards and that. So things are happening there, but, okay?
Great.
All right, moving on. Like we said, working on a Creek Road crosswalk study, which expands from 1300 all the way to 3500 east. So a lot of this is in Cottonwood Heights. A lot of it's in Cottonwood Heights / Sandy. So we have a majority of this going on. We have received a lot of input, and we continue to receive input from residents along there. We have seen a big uptick in Cottonwood Heights residents making comments and giving input on this. The consultant is going through these. We're developing the program, the plans, and we're looking at these. And we are still in the process of gathering a lot of data. So things are happening there. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. The storm drain master plan is completed. It's been sitting actually on my desk for quite a while. Kind of waiting to see where we go before we move much further with this, but we'll be bringing that forward for final adoption from the council as soon as we have a little breathing room as we, push into the next round. The Cottonwood connection, just an update, they're looking to wrap up the project on Danish and finish these things. We are in continual contact with the contractor and with Metropolitan and making sure these things are completed within our right-of-way. There's a lot going on private property with easements and right-of-ways that are happening. We're focused on our portions of the right-of-way. So that is continuing to move forward. Little update, this week is Public Works Week. Remind you tomorrow night, May 20th at 5 to 7 at Public Works. Come by, meet some of the staff, see some things that are happening, and have a hot dog to you and the public. Chance to come out and do that. So give you an idea of some things that happened today. We had a field trip. Well, we didn't. Field trip came to us with students from Ridgecrest actually, and they came by Ridgecrest Elementary. And some of the things that happened, we had stormwater education program going on where we taught some of the students and the volunteers about stormwater, and it was a great demonstration by Ben about what happens. The kids had a great time. I think they enjoyed spraying each other more with water, but they got the picture and they understood what was happening. A lot of good questions, and it's nice to get the education early as we talk about water quality. We also had a bridge building contest. There were some really fancy bridges built. They had lasagna noodles, spaghetti, toothpicks, and some tongue depressors, and then some fancy little ties to make it look pretty. And then they weighed them and they gave out awards. So one of the winning teams had 2,000 grams or something to that effect. And then we realized we gave them too many tongue depressors. So we changed the next group. We also had a little fun thing. We had a sandbagging relay, and believe it or not, this got the most applause when we asked them how things went. They raced to fill sandbags, and you can see they had to relay, put on the jacket, put on the helmet, and you can see some were pretty intense. They didn't even get the jacket all the way on. They just raced down there, filled the bags. Unfortunately, we didn't keep all the bags. Would be nice. I think I figured out next spring how to do them a little quicker. We're going to have relay races with the students. But it went really well. They really enjoyed it. Staff did well. We also had, we called it equipment petting zoo, where the students were allowed to go around, look at the equipment. They got a little education on what each piece of equipment does in the city. And then they also had little tug of war contests to have a little time at the end. They challenged staff, and I think they beat them every time. So it was a lot of fun with the petting zoo. This is the fun thing that we did. We had a snowplow painting contest. Each group got a snowplow to themselves, and we gave them some ideas of what to put on there this year. We learned a lot from last year. This year, we kind of gave them an idea of what we could see to put on there, and you can see they put a lot of effort into it. This one is, don't know, but it's scary looking. Here's another one with roosters and chicks walking around. You can see they put a lot of time and really took pride in their work. This was a great class that came through. This one, the fire department ought to appreciate. On the right side is a forest fire that's inching its way towards the cabins. And I'm not sure where that came from. It seemed a little morbid, but they went with it anyway. Then the school, we had one of them painted a school bus, and they were pretty proud of their school and put the sign on there. And this one was the contest winner. You can see it's obviously a snow theme. You can see the broken snowman, and in there on the left, you can see the broken mailbox. Kind of made us laugh a little bit. I know some people don't appreciate it, but that happens in the winter. We take out a mailbox or two. So they won the contest, and they got a little candy bar for their group. So a lot of fun there. And finally, this is the class that showed up as Public Works. I know we've talked about naming the road, renaming the road. We are not renaming the road, but we did gift them a couple of signs from the city, and those two signs we will put up on their driveways going into the school. So little pride in the name. It gives them something there, and the teachers and the principal were very excited about it, so they wanted to say thank you for doing that. And so this was the class that was there. So in the end, we feel like it was very successful. Those of you who were able to join us, I think it was successful. We got a lot of good compliments. We had one teacher who wants to come back next year and bring her next class. So we learned a lot from last Public Works Week and to this one. I mean, last year's Public Works Week and to this one. Special thanks to my staff who put a lot of effort into this. And Ms. Jenica Comber, who spearheaded this for us. I can't thank her enough. The organization was great. The activities were great. The supplies were great. And we feel like it was a success. So thank you for your support for Public Works. And we just want to thank Ridgecrest for showing up and being a part of it.
Thank you. That's a great presentation, and this has been a very long day for our Public Works Director. It was the Public Works Day with the youth started over 12 hours ago, so thank you.
They were a great class to have, so thank you.
Okay.
And
Can I just compliment your staff? They looked good today, even though they looked uncomfortable in their nice, clean shirts.
They looked like they were wearing straight jackets, didn't they?
They were great kids, so thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then the final item on our agenda is our Cottonwood Heights Police Department report from our Chief Robbie Russo and also Candy Terry. Thank the citizens that are still here in person.
My computer died.
Yeah, this usually happens to finance, not the police department, but
Okay. Calls for service for the April 2026, we had 1,295. That is up from last year. Average response times for priority 1, we are at 5 minutes, 26 seconds. Priority 2, we are at 8 minutes, 33 seconds. And priority 3, we're at 18 minutes and 25 seconds.
and I wanted to comment on that slide's important to me because I know during the budget process, you have people from the outside often comment, well, what can we live with? Can we live with a longer response time? And I wanted to comment on that because that's not a viable solution because it incorporates a much broader scenario than simply response times. And certainly we brought several cases to the council and where we highlight why that response time is important. And in each of those cases, those people couldn't have lived with longer response times because they certainly would have died if we didn't get there in time. So a lot of you have lived in places where the police don't come or they come very late. And that's the difference in this community. That's not something we founded the police department on the fundamentals that we go on everything and we do it quickly. And so we put response times in every report and we'll continue to do so.
Okay. Our overall crime is down from last year. We only had 19 thefts, 2 burglaries, and 5 assaults. We did have 55 arrests in the month of April, and that is up a little bit from last year of 43. Traffic citations, we had 283, and we did have 301 warnings. We did have 11 DUIs last month as well. Accidents, we did have 32 property damage and 6 injury. For code enforcement, they did have 64 total calls for service. They issued 4 citations, 2 animal control and 2 code enforcement. We did have 3 unattended deaths. For our property crime, we were actually down in the month of April. We did have 34 property crimes. Now on to our fun slides. Sorry, I tried to get through this. I know it's been a long day, sorry. So for the month of March was our Women's History Month. So I wanted to kind of highlight all of the female staff that we have working for the police department. So this not only includes our officers, our code enforcement, but it also includes our civilian staff. We are very grateful for everything that everybody does in our department, but this is actually the most female officers that we've had working for us. since the inception. And our code enforcement, of course, you all know, they are amazing. And then our civilian staff, our victim advocate, I'm looking at it, tired. Awesome. So I wanted to highlight them in this presentation as well. Was it March? In March, Officer Ruggles and Canine Leo went down to the canine trials in Las Vegas. They took second place in 2 categories, and this is them getting their awards. And Officer Ruggles spends a lot of time and dedication training with Leo, and Leo is one of our top-notch canines.
And that's not a Utah event, that's a national event where he's placing second. So we're extremely proud of him and the entire canine unit.
Okay, and April was Child Abuse Awareness Month.
As you know, you had the speaker or the director of that program come and speak to you at the council meetings, and we pledged to show our support. And we did so with the T-shirts and in various ways. It's an important topic in every community. It's toxic to the family, and we wanted to show and express our appreciation for what they do and that our solidarity in working with them.
I'll let Chief take this.
Well, it's a slide of the fire that we had. Again, we're proud of the fact that the police can get there very quickly, get there fast, and we make sure nobody is in the house. We also put a slide of the true heroes, which are the fire department, who are resuscitating the little kitty and handed it back to the homeowner, which she was very grateful for. But we actually have a council member who is like this mountain goat who beat all the police officers up the hill to the tennis courts to survey the fire. And
In sandals.
and yeah, I was getting to that part, and she beat us all there. We felt pretty old, but no, that was a tough day and a tough fire, and it was an angry fire that moved quickly. And the fire department did an outstanding job in containing that. That could have been much worse because there was a lot of fuel behind that building that could spread to other homes in the area. The people were very grateful to the city and to the response, and I feel bad for that's a good family. And to watch your home go up like that and everything you know and have inside there is tragic.
It could have so easily gone up the hill. It truly was remarkable that it didn't, thanks to the quick response of the police and fire.
So very often people don't understand exactly what the police department does. They don't understand exactly what animal control does. So I put in a couple of slides because we hear about some of this, but you don't actually see it. That first slide was of a German Shepherd found abandoned in the park. And the damage you see was from neglect. The dog was down to 30-something pounds. And what you see in the second picture, or on the right-hand side of the screen, they're cleaning the wound. And if you look closely into the liquid, that's, they've got soap and water there, but you'll see little white things in there. Those are maggots that they had to scrape off that dog. That was not cared for and abandoned. Dog was not chipped. We couldn't actually figure out who abandoned the dog, and we did have to find a home for it. But eventually the dog had to be euthanized because it required too much medical attention. It was just too badly damaged. But we do have some cool video. I mean, they played with the dog, and the dog was able to catch, a bone before that. So last few days we're happy. But that's the kind of things that they do, and it's not infrequent. And then the picture on the left, they're catching a rattlesnake. Kim Beck is one of my volunteers. She's a rattlesnake expert, and she brings her snakes to teach staff how to capture them, because this is exactly the time of year when they come out of hibernation, and you'll be in your garden, especially in District 4, and you'll find those there. You can't actually, it's illegal to kill those things. We trap them and we take them up the canyons and we release them. Most people don't know that. Code enforcement does a great job. The same council member likes to come out to our scenes and in the same sandals. We were going to have to buy her some boots or something, but Mr. Shipp touched on this. This is a joint effort with everybody in the city. The council members take the complaints and work with the police department. We work with Mr. Topman, the legal department, to get the paperwork and the legal process in order, and Public Works helped us clean it up. This is a woman who was relatively affluent at one point in her life. And I had no idea who she was or until she came and spoke with me. And it would bring tears to your eyes because she was not what I thought at all. This was a person who truly was not mentally ill. She's in her 80s and she walked around very well. But she had some adopted sons. One is no longer living, the other one lives with her. But it was so debilitating to have that son with her that it was one of those situations where if one person in the family or relationship has a mental illness, it'll bring you down to that area as well. That's where she was. And she was initially combative and resistant to our efforts. But when we came and cleaned up there, she came out, she is crying. She showed up at the department the next day. She's hugging us. And what we did in this situation is we were contacting her. She's a member of the LDS Church. So we're contacting her bishop. The son, we charged, he assaulted one of the officers and put him in jail. But our goal there is to get him into mental health court. So I have one of the detectives working with the prosecutor to channel that and follow that case directly. So get him where we need to be so that, because she's not going to throw him out. He has to have a place to live. She knows that. And finally, we're working on a legal process that she already actually had started because very well-known family she's connected to in the valley has helped her get a trust for the home so that she could, when she dies, that she can provide for the son and sell the house and do all kinds of things. And I'm giving you the long version of the story because those are services that no other police departments can provide. Those are things that we take an interest in every one of these cases, and we provide services and hand walk them through. We have victim advocates to do it, the code people, the police officers, and Public Works was there great helping us. So it's a pleasure to be in a community where we can actually do that. And it's not common, and we're proud that it's not and that we can do that. So thanks. We do this at least once a year. We're going to get this the simulator and the scenarios and the live fire range, but we also train all the officers, the young officers within the schools, and we do the practical training as if there were a live active shooter in the schools. We want them to be familiar with it and have a plan and have it practice. So God forbid that a situation rises, that they know where they're going, they know what it looks like, they know the barriers, they know the surroundings, and they can act. And so it'll be rehearsed and not something that they're doing on the scene. So there's some pictures of the different groups going into the schools and practicing the most unwanted scenario. This is another typical thing of what we see. Wasatch Boulevard, some of you may have seen this, the Corvette is going southbound, goes left of center and hits the other, was it a Jeep? I think it was a Jeep or something, yeah. And heads on the Jeep. They both take off the wheels. They both roll and they're trapped in the vehicle, and we had to have fire come out and extricate them from the vehicle. The driver of the Corvette went to the hospital. And then the very next day, we get another call because he is at the Wasatch Recovery Center, and he showed up there too intoxicated to be allowed in. And they called the police, and he tried to run from the police, and he crashed a second time within 24 hours and went to jail.
In his rental car.
In his rental car, because the Corvette was smashed. But I know that sounds, well, that's amazing, but it's not amazing to us because we deal with this all the time. And I wanted to point out on Wasatch, because the mayor and some of the council members, we've met with UDOT. This is the area where UDOT's talking about a raised island. And I know there's two perspectives on this. You know, is it inconvenient for a motorist to turn in? In this case, that could have been a fatality easily. There were 3 cars involved because the guy in the Corvette hit 2 cars. I don't know, but just something that you consider when you're making these decisions and working with UDOT. We appreciate that partnership because what they're talking about, they're talking about putting a little raised island along that area so that, we can slow traffic down and direct it a little better. Anyway.
May I just interject? Thank you for bringing that up because I don't think our council members are aware yet of the meeting that you're referring to that the mayor and I attended, and we were meeting with the Region 2 director and top staff there. And they recommended, especially because if you come out of the Canyon Center with your motor vehicle, and even though it says no left-hand turn, between that and all the problems by the 7-Eleven with U-turn, and so this median, are you understanding it to be from the mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon south and up the hill, and you'd like to see it go all the way to the intersection with, maybe with Bengal?
Right, and I understand that creates some problems for some of the residents, but the police can't be there all the time, and the mayor and I have talked about this, and our position is anytime we can put something, a physical infrastructure in place to help control the speed and the traffic, and it's a better fix. That's our position.
And it's visual friction.
Yeah, for sure. Emergency management. I don't know that we've ever had anybody as passionate, as interested in emergency management as you've been. So props to you. We appreciate you working with Lance, and most will go in and listen and, take in the information, but you research actually, and you know what you're talking about there, and you come prepared to move the organization forward into the future. And I appreciate that about you, and Lance does as well. Lance is new to this, but he's really good. And your ideas with building better partnership with the community and the focus groups and so forth. We thank you for that. Very important. I mean, it's not something that you hope you never need, but it's real. And I think people expect, I heard you talk about earlier, you'd be prepared to take care of yourself for 72 hours. That is true. I think most people think that if something happens, we are going to be there, and we are not going to be able to be there. And so we appreciate you doing that, and we're trying to get everyone prepared for that. To that end, we know we have the ham radio operators, and that technology is good, and they have a place, but Starlink is where it's at for me. So I came to you before and told you we were investing in Starlink programs. So we have a new command post. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it soon. It's getting decaled and outfitted, and it's equipped with Starlink, and it'll be used for a police command post, and we can use it for emergency management as well. Thanks.
I was told today that Starlink should be available on our phones for emergency texting. Is that correct? Especially as council members, if in an emergency, if we needed to be able to communicate.
Yeah, so it's going to start with texting. That should already be available, and it'll expand to calls, and then it'll expand to full all service.
It's really important if we had an emergency.
This is a service that'll just be purchased for the staff and council members? Or-
It's already built into the new cell phone plans that we've done, so it'll just automatically become available as they expand it, but it's already built into the phones in the plan.
What kind of expense was related to that, to have Starlink?
Nothing extra. We negotiated with T-Mobile.
Wow, how about that? It's amazing. Way to go.
Then we don't have to have walkie-talkies. We have them in our phones.
That's amazing, yeah.
Okay, we finished up our 10 weeks of Citizens Academy on the end of April. We had a great class. Sergeant Soakai led the group again, and they did an amazing job. We got a lot of positive feedback. They were able to go out to the AG's office, do the simulator. They had a night where they were able to fingerprint or lift fingerprints, dust glass, things like that. Everything was very positive. If you guys haven't had a chance, please join us when we start it next year. It is a great time. You get to see everything that the officers do. You work with them, and it's a great time. CERT. We also had CERT going on at the same time. Sergeant Bess was in charge of this. So we had everybody working with him, going through the classes. And I think this is in conjunction with UFA. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So they had all their classes, going through the CPR, doing everything that they do. And they were able to finish up, get their certificates, and they finished up halfway through Citizens Academy. So we kind of had some jumpers going back and forth. But that was a great class as well. Final slide. Last week was Law Enforcement Appreciation Week, and we definitely appreciate the Cottonwood Heights Police Department. Law Enforcement Appreciation Week, at least for me, is something I value and appreciate a lot. It'll be 18 years next month that I almost lost my dad in the line of duty. He was a captain with the Lehigh Police Department, and he was shot in the head during a routine traffic stop. But he did survive. So Law Enforcement Appreciation Week is the week that we really appreciate the families, the officers, and then we remember the ones that have fallen, the ones that did not make it home to their loved ones at night. If you've ever received the call, it's not a fun phone call. So my heart goes out to all the families that have not had their loved ones come home. And I am grateful for the police department here. I am grateful for Chief. I am grateful for all of the officers and sergeants that I get to work with every single day, because I have been a part of police departments my whole life. And I can tell you that Cottonwood Heights has a fabulous police department. And the officers you have here protecting your community, you guys are lucky. You guys are very lucky. So with that, this is onto our safety message. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Make sure you check in on your loved ones. Make sure you're checking in on your neighbors. Check in on yourself. Do a checklist for you. See how you're feeling. Mental health is very, very important. It's very important with law enforcement. In fact, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, we received a message that there was a Salt Lake City officer who took his own life. And he was right around my age. He'd only been in law enforcement for, I guess it'd been about 20 years. And he took his own life. So mental health is very serious, especially with law enforcement, but in every aspect. So make sure you're checking in on your loved ones, but maybe reach out to an officer, check in on them. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Without any questions?
I just want to thank you. I will personally do better next year, and I appreciate our officers every day. I appreciate the chief letting me know when things are happening in our city, and the outreach that they do from the young children in schools. I've been able to go to several of the DARE graduations, and it's remarkable that Officer Wallace remembers the names of all the students he's working with, and that's hundreds of youth. And they're making connections with the youth to help them know they can go to the officers and to stay away from drugs and alcohol that will be such a negative impact. So I really do appreciate, and we'll do better next year at celebrating that week, but I am grateful for the services of our officers. Is there any other comments?
Maybe we'd have more to say, but it's 5 to 10, so we don't want to keep you all.
Yeah, mental health is a subject, we
Yes,
could talk
there's
about
lots of
that,
things we can
yeah.
say,
Yep.
but we just want to thank you.
Well, some of us are used to midnight, so.
That's right. I
that's
was
good
going to
if
say
people-
that.
And I assure you, Mayor, that next year, we will do better also, because I did not know hot dogs were a thing in the city, but I'm guaranteeing Crown Burger next year, because I'm going to be one up again. So with that, thank you.
It's
Thank
on.
you.
It's on.
All right. With that, I will take a final motion and thank everyone that's been here for so long.
I'll motion to adjourn this meeting tonight.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.